What's up, everybody? It's the second episode of the Surreal series. We're back, more confident, more improved, more happy, more loving life. Nothing more than that, nothing less.
Yep. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Yep. So I heard you guys' remarks, and we're really working to improve.
We love them. We love them.
Yeah. And we're really working to improve the audio, make sure it's perfect, because that's something we're going to pride ourselves on is pristine audio. We don't have video yet, so we're going to have pristine video when that comes out too.
Working on video. You know, we just got the YouTube channel up started. So all we have right now is video with the logo, and that was more of just a stretch to try and have more people be able to view it. So if they don't have Spotify, they don't have Apple Podcasts, they have YouTube. So it's not that that's one of our main platforms, but that is definitely a secondary platform. Our main goals are Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Casts. And other than that, if there are people that need that, we are 100% going to address that. We want to address every possible community that we can have. It's just we don't know yet. But go ahead. I'm not trying to distract from you, Adam. I'm not trying to take away from what you have to say.
Nope, not at all. No, actually, I was completely concurrent with that. Okay. So I mean, really, so if you guys have any I guess particular things you want to say, you can hit us up on Twitter at Surreal Series or Series Surreal. You know, we now have an Instagram, by the way.
The Surreal Series, no spaces.
You can DM us. Yep. The Surreal Series,
no spaces, no periods, no underscores, just the Surreal Series.
Yep. We're lucky we got that domain. All
Very
that
lucky.
Stuff. All
I'm
that
happy.
Stuff. Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
We chose a pretty unique name that nobody's going to target yet. You know, maybe in the future somebody.
We're going to take it over, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to take it over.
Anyways, happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you're being safe. I hope you're having a fun time tonight. You know, make the right decisions. Don't do anything stupid. Don't drink and drive. You know. But we're here.
Uber and Lyft are there for a reason.
We're here, you know, enjoying a different way of Halloween. You know, we're gonna probably get a little bit creepy on you guys here because it's Halloween, the spirit of Halloween.
So both of us, we kind of just wanted to illustrate a story or multiple stories. I guess in my case, especially. I'm not sure about Adam's, but we wanted to truly encapture the creepy vibe of Halloween because that's what Halloween's all about. Originally, it's from the Celtic, and they use dressing up in costumes to scare people away, blah, blah, blah. So what we used...
What was the whole reason behind that? Wasn't it?
It was religious. It was
off
very
demons.
It was very Christian. It was to ward off demons, ward off spirits.
Yeah.
You dress scary, and they'll stay away. So... coming to these standards in these times, we wouldn't necessarily apply that. But I like to apply it to our realistic sense of make-believe or unknown. Yeah. So I play a lot more into the unknown. Adam is way more of a skeptic in the sense that he likes real world. He likes real world evidence. And I'm not even saying that to play him. He just likes earthly evidence, something that's there.
So let me say, there's a lot of things that in this world that I haven't been able to explain. You know, some things that freak me out, but I'll never have definitive evidence or a definitive answer for you guys, or I will never claim to have seen or done this thing or, you know, whatever. So, I mean... yeah, it's just it's the trial of thought that I bring to the table, and I know
it's
a lot
credibility.
Of people, exactly.
Credibility is a huge part.
And if somebody who was very credible told me this story, I'd be like, that's a lot more believable. I still can't believe it. I'm sorry, but It's a lot more believable. Yes.
Yeah. And so I 100% respect, because the way Adam works is he loves evidence being there. Where with me, I hold a lot more weight in personal accounts and listening to personal accounts. And that's what a lot of this book series, I know that we're kind of hinting and dancing around the subject, but I'll introduce it right now just so that everybody knows that we're talking about, is the Missing 411 series. It's written by David Paulides, and he has been studying missing people cases for, I would say, a couple decades now. And he doesn't just study normal cases. He studies cases that cannot be explained by normal human logic. He studies cases that cannot be explained by pretty much any logic. Any logic whatsoever. Is any human being that was lost in the wilderness, that's where he concentrates, is the natural outdoors. But to, I don't know, bring back from that statement, I don't want to get too deep, is that the way that people go missing is inexplicable. And if you feel that you have an explanation, you haven't read enough into his cases. I will go over in, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes. We'll go over the specific parameters of how he researches cases and takes them down.
Yeah.
It's just the consistency of how they happen within, even if they have 12, 15, 30, 40 years apart, how consistent the cases are. And the clusters of people, not even to mention, the clusters of people across the U.S. in Canadian borders is weird. 100% weird.
Yeah.
People being researched in Canada for going missing, is all of them are above the age of around 65.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
They're all above the age of 65.
Yeah.
But then there's a place in Oregon where only
somebody like some elderly
only
people.
women go missing.
Yeah.
But then there's other places where men will go missing. 2 to 3 men will go missing. And then 2 women will go missing. Not 2 to 3 women, not 1 to 2 women.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 women that'll go missing. And then either 2 or 3 men will disappear. And then 2 women they'll go and disappear.
Okay.
And it's extremely odd in the sense that the way that these people disappear. But I'm going, pardon me, you may hear some of my pages going through these notes, okay? But I'm going to start with the criteria. And I want Adam to comment every moment along. So this may go for a little bit, but I want to have his criticisms apparent in this episode because I want it to be credible. So we're going to start with the criteria of what David Paulides searches in cases and says. Bump my mic. Says what sticks out to him. All the things, because he did 3 years of research without saying anything. So this is pretty much him saying what sticks out after 3 years of research. Mm-hmm. But after the criteria, very, very common circumstances among multiple cases is dogs. Not just random dogs, pet dogs, okay? So those pet dogs, they'll often go missing with the owners. They'll either return home, they're found randomly in the wilderness starving. They're not as well fed in that sense, starving.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or they'll be never found. But that's the most rare case, is if the dogs are never found. Most of the time, dogs
in the wilderness.
In the wilderness, yes. So,
well, you got to understand, dog has a really keen sense of smell, location, all that, all that good stuff.
It's just that in these cases, dogs will be gone for days, and they don't show up with their owner.
Okay.
They don't do anything. They'll just show up at their home, or they'll be found in the wilderness starved. So, dogs obviously can't explain what situation they've been in fully.
Yeah,
but that's just a weird. That's one of the few facets of this. That's just one thing that multiple articles match up with.
Yeah.
Is dogs. They'll disappear with dogs. They'll be found with dogs. Very low amount of cases, the kids will be found sleeping unconscious. Not just sleeping. they'll be found unconscious with
Yeah.
dogs, just laying near a river, which being near
A little kid is found with the dog, you're telling me.
their pet dog, just laying in the wilderness.
And these families live around the wilderness, or are
Yes,
they?
so a family their kid
Or
will go.
they're on
I'm
vacation?
listing a very specific
Okay.
case
All right.
right now.
Okay.
There was a kid that went missing.
Okay.
And they were in, I forget what national park, but the kid went missing and he showed up 12 miles away 24 hours later after he went missing, which Les Shroud, the guy from Survivor Man.
Yeah.
He
The Survivor Man.
he come out. Sorry.
The-
he went the Survivor
If you
Man.
guys don't know who Les Shroud is, this is a man
He's
that goes
the
into
Survivor
Yeah,
Man.
he literally goes in the woods. Okay, no film crew.
He used a goat's penis to survive.
He probably did that.
Like,
he
that's
probably did that.
what he
I've never
does.
seen that. Yeah,
And I
he
didn't see
does
it
that
either.
every
It's just,
episode.
I'd believe in him if he had
uses
that episode.
goat penis every time. He's like, yeah, honestly, I'm gonna start this fire with some goat penis.
I'd believe it.
I'm
I'd
gonna
believe
drink
it. Hands
my
down.
water out of this goat penis, dude. You have a perfectly good flask right there.
Yeah. No, it's just
No,
that
I
what
want the
we're
goat
trying
penis.
to get at. We're silly. It's just we're trying to get at is the fact is the people that we're giving credit to is they are extremely knowledgeable of their field.
Let me kind of break down what
give
Les
Adam
Shroud
a step
does.
back.
So if he had a TV show literally called Survivor Man, where he would go into the woods or any sort of wilderness, any untamable wilderness, unbearable, unsurvivable wilderness, and he'd teach you how to survive. Now, he wouldn't go like Bear Grylls with a crew and then go sleep in a hotel afterwards. I promise. And Bear Grylls actually got in trouble for that. And there was found out, about I had literally heard about this the other day. I've heard about this years and years ago, but heard about this the other day again and kind of sparked it.
Well, here. To be fair, the explanation that he gave was normal television based off of how people survive is not interesting enough. So you have to drink your piss.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically the bottom line of his explanation.
Yes. So, but Les Shroud would do it justly. He would do it, the right way. And he went out there by himself with 50 pounds of cameras, plus all his surviving equipment, which was barely anything.
By himself.
Yeah, by himself.
By him.
No,
He would
no.
set up and record everything that you saw in that show was set up by him.
So imagine-
anything he was creeping on an animal, but
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from Adam. You go.
All right.
You go.
He would he'd do that. He'd set up it'd take him extra time for everything that he was doing. An extra 20 minutes just to start a fire, an extra 30 minutes just to cook his food. So you got to imagine this man is seasoned. He's a seasoned wilderness expert.
Hundo percent.
Yeah, exactly. So go back to you. I mean,
Well, I don't want to take away from
No.
you too much. I love the way that made you tell stories.
yeah, exactly.
But so Les Shroud, coming from that point of view, is he was looking at a specific case where a kid went missing. Tiny child. He was either 2 or 3 years old. And over the case of, it was either 11 or 12 hours, he was found 12 miles away from where he went missing, had no scratches on him, nothing. So in case that some animal picked them up and ran through the brush for miles, rather than with most mountain cats.
Can you hand me a beer, bro?
Yeah.
Sorry.
With most mountain cats, what they'll do is they'll either destroy their prey right away or they'll bury them. So that's a common theory dealt with this type of stuff. But I'll address that later in the episode and show you where it's applied, and you'll understand why I find fishiness. But at the end of the day, Adam pops that beer with a yellow highlighter.
Yep.
I want to highlight that every episode is Bear Who always finds a way to open a beer.
I will
Always finds a way.
MacGyver my way.
Dude, you'll open it on your whatever.
My testicles.
Something. Just something. You'll open it. But, so getting the episode, I'll start explaining some of the criteria. I'll offer a little bit more structure to this episode, which is definitely going to be more than most because what we're going to do is let the conversation carry where it's going to go. And with guests, we want it to be wherever they're comfortable. So we're not going to try and imply our own agenda or notes onto an episode. If somebody doesn't naturally flow there, we're not going to flow there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we want it to be exactly where they're comfortable being. And I'd rather get facts that I want to know within 5 episodes rather than 1 and they not talk to me again.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be friends with them, value them as human beings, and show how much they mean to me, because every human being, that's something we constantly want to concentrate on, is every single human being on this planet has a valuable and interesting story. Every single one. If you feel that you don't, you are dishonoring yourself. And I understand that mindset in the sense of depression, anxiety, and negativity.
Sorry.
You're trying to give me
Yeah, I was just
Native
saying,
American
pull
hand
the
signals.
case up here,
I got you.
just so I don't have to ask every time. Thanks, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Something about Native Americans.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
so basically
Native.
we just we want to hint around as many factors as we possibly can without pulling from a certain demographic or anything. Is what we love to hear is a certain issue heard from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different points. We love to hear that.
Exactly.
Is we'd sit there and you can go ahead from here, is reading articles, what we would do.
Yeah,
Go
yeah. As far as like even my newspapers. I don't really read too much now, newspapers, but I will get Huffington Post and I'll get a New York Times, and usually it'll be the same story, 2 different lights to it. You know what I mean?
2 different.
Still at the end of the day, I'm gonna, if I really care about the subject and it really envelops me into it, I'm gonna look up an even more obscure source or something like that. Get an even, it rarely happens that I need to look up another obscure source. Some things are cut and dry. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Cut and dry. This let's say a natural disaster happened. I'm not gonna read that from both sides. Okay. And there's only one which way of where it comes. So, anyways, yeah, I mean, so we just do that. It's a process of not elimination, but keeping it
some form of integrity.
a little, yeah, and diversity.
Yeah, we don't we're not trying to sit here and play opinions that are specifically to ours. And hopefully, as we get bigger, we'll be able to pull in people that have opinions opposite of ours. That's something that we'd love to pursue.
Yeah.
So we want people to pursue our opinions and prove them wrong, and to accentuate a totally different opinion that sounds more correct. And what we're trying to do is not even say that we have a definite answer. Is we just want to encourage intelligent discussion.
Yeah.
Which is a definite fallout of where we're at right now. Is
you don't have to change your beliefs. No one's asking you to change your beliefs, but at least give another person of a different ideals or a different opinion. Let them take the stage for a second.
Give them the stage.
Yeah.
They don't need to prove anything to you. Just let them give their stage.
Yeah, exactly.
I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to change anything. You don't have to believe what they believe, anything. But that is intelligent discussion. The fact that you can sit there and accept somebody with a different opinion, but at the end of the day, believe what you believe and walk about your own way.
Who knows?
Not they might fight about it, and that's really it.
Yeah, who knows? They might hate everything that you're about, but they also disagree on abortion. You don't know. Mm-hmm. You don't know. So give them that. Give that, and that's a hint from the last episode. Is give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt is you don't know where they're coming from, and they can come from many places. And some people that have weird, misconstrued opinions does not necessarily mean they bought into it. It could just be what they were exposed to.
Yeah.
And that's something you have to carry heavily too, is a lot of people, they'll find truth. They'll find what it means to treat a person as a person. They'll find whatever it means to them. Not, just treating as a person on social media or in person, whatever lesson somebody has to learn. Yeah. Everybody has a different lesson.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a huge issue of people not addressing problems that people see. But the way that they will address the problems, if they do, is terrible. It's yelling, it's screaming. I've actually seen multiple articles today about making a joke is eventually yelling and screaming at your opponents will make a difference.
Yeah.
I've seen multiple articles about that. And on the liberal side, on the Republican side, I've seen the articles. In a way, I personally find it's funny because a lot of people, they have similar values. They just look at them differently. They look at them differently.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with looking at something differently? Honestly, me and Bearhoot, that's what we strive to find is differences in the way that people view things based on where they came from.
Yeah.
And we want to highlight that. We just can't afford it yet. What we're going to try and do is get a couple more mics so that we can have guests to highlight the fact is you can pull somebody off the street and learn a life lesson.
Yeah.
And
let me reiterate. We're not going to try and get more mics. We are getting more mics. It will be very soon in the future. And honestly, if you guys have something that you'd like to talk about, whether it be a past experience yet or a belief that you have, that might kind of test us or anything. Not that we're really testable, but we'll sit here and listen, man. But anyways, you know what I mean? Or you have something that you want to share or something. This is a platform which is great for sharing what you believe.
100%. It's the best platform to share.
Every step of the way, I mean, you're kind of going to be challenged. Okay, that's my business. That's what I live with. That's what I do. That's how I conduct. I challenge because I want you to further your ground your belief or whatever, or your opinion or whatever. I want you to ground that even further. Or sometimes you can take a step back and be like, maybe I'm kind of rushing into this, a little bit.
That could be a thing with us too, is we don't want you to sit here and take our advice. Maybe you'll take opposite advice from us. Yeah. Because you don't match that.
Yeah, exactly.
Run with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Run with it.
Exactly.
Whatever fits you, whatever makes you love yourself. I'm sorry, that's my dog barking. We're going to be working on a soundproofing of the walls. We just have to close up an office wall that's upstairs. But
you guys got to remember also it's trick-or-treating time.
Yeah, it's trick-or-treat time. Outside. There's going to be kids. Knock, knock, knock.
Yep.
But I kind of lost my point after talking about trick-or-treaters. That's fine. No worries. Yeah. At the end of the day, all it's about is me and Bear who only care about professing messages and opinions of people that truly believe them.
Yeah.
So, not that we're people that have major recognition or anything. It's just any of the recognition that we have, we want it to be towards somebody that we truly love and believe in.
Yes.
And so from here on out, I want you, me and Adam and I, we both want you to know that we're only concentrated on making content for the podcast like this better. That is the only concentration of where we're at. And I'm not trying to make another whole deviation of subject compared because we kind of need to get to this Halloween episode. We want to tie people in. I talked to him about a little bit. Yeah.
There's always going to be a little bit of fucking ranting. Yes. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Coming along with the episode. Yeah, exactly.
You can't take
that. You can't
take that away.
Can't take the flame off the candle. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. So I'm gonna get started.
Burn out, then turn out.
Yeah. I'm gonna get started on my subject of weird for Halloween. Something to creep you out, and it's called Missing 411, and it is a whole book series based off of weird missing people cases that cannot be explained by normal nature, or even if they're affiliated with nature, the fact that they are affiliated with nature makes them unusual. So I'm gonna start by going into the criteria of how David Paulides started to research all of his cases, but before that, through this entire episode, I'm going to offer Adam very, very good times to offer his counter arguments so that I could bring up cases to show him that it's not just random disappearances.
Yeah.
But from here, he's going to continue.
1 second. No, I just want to say there is a documentary. I don't know if you already touched on that.
The Missing 411.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I watched it even. Okay, and like we just discussed earlier, I'm very skeptical. Still a phenomenally made documentary. Okay,
Yeah,
has a
based
lot
off
of
what, 3 cases?
yes, and it has a. I think so. I think that yeah.
Free on YouTube. Free
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, free
Just
on
look
YouTube.
up Missing 411 documentary.
Yep. That or they probably they might have monetized it, but maybe made some sort of.
But they're planning, just for a note, they're planning on monetizing every book.
Really?
Is because they realize that people do not like reading format,
Yeah.
especially in these modern times. So they are. Sorry, that was a doorbell. That was for some human being that's coming into here. I don't want you to distract from the episode. I hope it's not bad. But yeah, part of that. I don't know. I guess I'll just let you expand on that from where you were going because you had your own initial.
Basically, yeah. What the whole gist of the documentary was? It was revolving around 3 cases. It was phenomenally made. I swear to you, this was one of my favorites. There's a few other documentaries that I can say that have pushed that line of wow, this is actually a problem, whether it be really a conspiracy or I'm not going to push that, but it's just phenomenally made. It's well directed. It's just everything mashes up together perfectly. They kind of skip around from time to time from one case and then come back to another case, which is good. They give extra reference towards these issues, I guess. And so it being cut and dried to the point, that's a lot of things that I don't particularly like. And that's why I tell the stories the way that I do. I like to distract for a second and divulge for a second. I know some of you guys said that you didn't like that, but this is the way that we.
I personally love the way that
Yeah.
you go about conversations, and
Thank you, man.
I love the fact that you guys are able to sit out there and offer points of reference for us to fix ourselves.
Yeah.
But there are certain points of reference that we aren't going to fix. Is that we want this to be a free flow conversation. We want this to be something that sounds natural
And an embodiment of our personality.
Yeah,
Not
and
to change too much.
At the end of the day, it's going to be Trevor Schultz and Adam Barahu
yeah.
posting this episode.
Tell you one
about
thing
it.
we have changed, okay? Even on the first episode.
Even me with saying
swearing.
like.
Yeah, okay.
Me saying like and
Yeah.
you swearing.
Yeah. Well, no, just in general, me and you swear a lot. So when
Yeah.
we're in this room, I'd say it's a lot less than usual. So, anyways, all right, let's get back to the 411.
Okay. So we're going into these 401 cases, and we have certain there's a map of the U.S. alone. You can Google U.S. map missing 411, and you will see this entire map of the cases that I'm talking about. It is the entire United States.
You said they can find it on Google?
They could find on Google. Yeah,
Okay,
just
yeah.
look up
If
missing
you-
411.
Yeah. If you guys want to
David
distract
Paulides.
for a second, go look it up on Google.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you listening on Spotify, so we'll just continue on.
Yeah, Adam is looking at the map right now within the book that I'm
Okay,
reading.
yeah, there is significant clusters, especially in lower California. If that's California or Nebraska.
Well, the largest cluster in the United States is Yosemite, which
I'm
is right
saying-
where you're pointing.
Oh, okay, that's Yosemite National Park. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that
and
makes sense.
oddly enough, is a lot of the cases where people go missing, there's high concentrations of
And
granite.
this would be the redwood forest, I'm
Yes.
assuming. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
that's another big concentration.
What I'm trying to say is that where you're looking right now with Yosemite and redwood, those are the highest concentrations of granite in the world.
Yeah.
And where people go missing, there's high concentrations of granite.
Rock monsters.
And and how it's weird is not just one person goes missing, it's just people repeatedly disappearing.
Let me tell you guys, there is literally
If you Google
none
this
in the middle.
online,
There's
if you
none
Google
in the middle.
it,
Yeah. Google, what would it be?
missing 411 David Paulides
Map. Just say missing 411 map. I'm sure it'll come up. If not,
Just look up missing 411 U.S. map. It will show up.
there is literally none in the middle.
Down the center cut of the United States, there's
Maybe a few
literally
stragglers.
a couple stragglers, maybe.
But
There's
a clean
that's
line
going
where there's
from going from Canada
Yeah.
to Texas.
Yes.
So other than that, there are weird clusters that are going to the east side and west side of the United States. Okay. And I just kind of wanted to read you the origin of where he came from, how he was interested.
Let me say about the map, though.
Go ahead.
We said that it's in the wilderness in the woods. There is no woods in the central of the U.S.
Yeah, no,
So
that's part of their correlation.
There is. Let's not get it totally out of whack. I'm sorry. I don't want to speak in complete absolutes. There is very limited amount of woods. So I think it's much harder to go missing at that point.
Well, yes. It's just that's the fact is that he highlights.
Yeah.
Is
Okay, he brings this up and
yes.
acknowledges it. Okay.
It's more of a fact is that when people go missing, they shouldn't have gone missing.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So that's his issue. But I'm going to read you a quick paragraph and a half of his origin, just so you guys can really understand where he was initially introduced.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to start right now reading his quote. I was originally led to this story by an off-duty ranger at a national park I was visiting. They informed me of a series of missing person cases at the park that were not getting any visibility in the press. And they felt that there might be a series of similar cases at other parks. That one meeting set me on a 3-year study of missing people topic, which led to 2 books highlighting 411 series, which is where this inspired him to write the Missing 411 series.
Okay.
The most interesting and fascinating portion of the study on missing people is the discovery of clusters of missing in various areas of North America. The clusters were identified after years of research and hours spent while I studied maps. The following are the clusters that were identified in the eastern section of the United States. So I'm reading from a book that is only listing the eastern section of the United States down to south all the way to Florida. And now we're going to have a book. He already published it. It's all the way west side. There's one that is establishing west side and Canada. There's also ones establishing other countries, not just us. Australia is a huge concentration of these type of weird.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all over the world.
I was going to say, if it's only in the U.S.,
cases.
that's a little bit
Is that
fishy,
all these
man.
cases have weird, fishy details that they'll never find somebody on.
So there's rock monsters all
Mm-hmm.
around the world.
And
Guys, don't forget there is rock monsters
there's
everywhere. Okay, not just the U.S. Okay.
And so I highlighted a few cases. It's highlighting mainly the clusters that are within certain states of people that go missing, as in the reasons why they do, or at least the settings of why they go missing. And one of them is a Greg Llewellyn, and he was a sheep herder. And the 3 main common basic groups among people that go missing is sheep herders, farmers, and berry pickers. Okay? So, from there, I decided to pull an odd case from a sheep herder, a farmer, and a berry picker, just so that you guys could understand the weird circumstances that are coming across in these certain situations. So, Greg Llewellyn, Greg Llewellyn, he was a sheep herder. He went missing back in 1973. And he was back in Utah, around 66 years old. Actually, of course, we're going to have
treat.
trick or treat. Trick or treat, baby.
I kind of want to go watch them to see what their dress says.
But I don't have candy, so I'd feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But so highlight of this is he's from Utah. He's a genuinely aged man, around 66 years. Actually, he is 66 years. And the way that David Paulides wanted to end this chapter was off of his case because it's an odd story. So the way that what ended up is that Greg Llewellyn, he's a sheep herder. Okay. He was tending to his sheep in the Washtenaw County area of Utah.
Washington?
No, Washtenaw. Actually, Wasatch. So Wasatch County, an area 20 miles east of Heber and Bench Creek.
Yeah.
Not that matters to anybody. It's just they're in the middle of nowhere in a random city. Basically what they're trying to get from that is Llewellyn had just arrived from a short vacation in Nevada and had reestablished his campsite. He went missing on August 3rd, but on August 4th, 1973, friends went to speak with Greg and found very strange circumstances at the camp. Greg was not at the location. He was nowhere to be found. No signs of him being in the house. And they started to shout for him, and everything went unanswered. They searched the immediate area. All they found was his flashlight 250 yards out from the camp of where his cabin was, where he would be sleeping. The dishes were not clean, and his bed appeared unmade, which is very, very uncharacter of him. So both of his dogs were missing as well, which is a huge case, which I have to stretch into, actually, the character of each of the missing people and the consistent characteristics of people missing. But I'm just trying to give you a case to draw you in a little bit. So the night that they found him missing, they found one of his horses hobbled. So in the sense that the horse was naturally where he should be tied down when he goes to bed.
I'm glad that you elaborated on that, because I was like,
what's hobbled?
I'm assuming that means dead.
Yeah, so the horse is hobbled. He's tied down for the night. He belongs where he belongs, because horses sleep standing up. Yep. But the other horse, both of his horses, one of them was hobbled, and then the other one was tied to another tree randomly compared to where he disappeared. It was just tied to a tree. His gun was also found underneath his bedroll in his sleeping bag within the house. So anything that seemed absolutely threatening to him, he clearly did not address, because that did not happen. As in, what it looks like is the occasion of his house is he crawled out of his bedroll, walked into nature, dropped his flashlight 250 yards away, and disappeared.
And he's just gone.
Just gone. And that's the same case with a random group of elderly hunters. There was a group of hunters that they were all above the age of at least 65, 70. And they were upon their last true hunt of being able to go out in nature, hunt down animals, shoot them, claim them.
Yeah.
Their last call. Their bodies were taking a toll. But they ended up teaching a bunch of their little nephews and family members, that they could go out into nature and corral the wildlife back towards them. So if they were to take a 1.5 mile loop out of where they were hunting, they could wrap around the back and drive nature towards them. And whether people accept that or not, that's not even an issue. That's a very common hunting strategy. But from that case, there were 3 people sitting there at the backside of driving nature back, as in their nephews, their little nephews, their cousins, whatever. They were driving nature towards them so they could shoot them. But there were 3 people sitting across from each other, each one 50 yards in gap. So wherever nature creviced from the woodwork, they'd see him. They'd shoot him. Just to get the kill. Yeah. But when this guy... keep in mind, this is a wooden table that we're working with right now. One of the things that the guys heard was but it was metallic.
Okay.
Metallic. Like metal banging like on metal.
Ding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he ran over to the guy that eventually went up missing, and they never found.
Yeah.
They did not find his gun. They did not find his clothes. They did not find anything whatsoever. This guy was over the age of 70, could not walk more than 50 yards by himself. Could not. He was not physically capable.
Okay. Why is he in the woods?
Because it was his last hunt with his buddies. So
Fair enough.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So that explains.
that's the preface that comes up to it is why is he out there? Yeah, and then it was because it was his last hunt. It was
I was
with
gonna
his
say
buddies.
that's a little bit fucking weird.
Yeah,
You know?
he was definitely he was in his 70s to 80s.
Yeah, it definitely was his last hunt. Yeah,
Hands down.
his last hunt for sure.
Yeah, of course. So,
He might have been able to score one or two more.
yeah, no, it's just things like that are weird to me. So, stretching back to the Greg Llewellyn story, though, he's one of the three major categories. Well, I would say four major categories. There's farmers, there's sheep herders, berry pickers, and then there's young disabled. Well, anybody that's disabled, and that's not saying mentally disabled. That's saying physically, somebody that cannot travel a significant amount of distance on their own.
So young kids or disabled.
Yeah, so it could be a
Adolescents.
kid, but it isn't saying their disablement. Basically, the range of what was happening was, oh, this kid was deaf. Okay, physical disablement. And then there's other ones where perfectly mentally stable human beings still couldn't describe it. Yeah. So I don't know. I found it more of a classification of finding things that could not be explained, and putting it into a category.
Yeah.
But so with this guy, he was a sheep herder. Okay, so sheep herders have an extreme, one of the top 3 associations with why people go missing, at least in this guy's books. And just to tell this guy's story, is on August 4th, honestly, let's continue back to the details.
Yeah, I want to hear details about this guy.
You know what? Before I get back to this case, I'm sorry, guys. We have a kind of off-format podcast, but we just want to give it to you right, and then it's honest. That's all. So I'll end up reading you the notes on the clusters and why they're looked at. Okay? So I'll start off with this first major note is that the Northern Illinois cluster is the only cluster in both books, which is Northern and Western U.S. He also has them based off of Canada, other countries, and certain demographics of people that are getting hunted. In both books in which everyone missing is female. So in the Northern Illinois cluster, that's the only book where people are only female missing, which is kind of weird because there's patterns among sexes and ages. But unique factors among certain people, well, I guess I'll give 2 more facts on different states. But Vermont is the only cluster that has a tight time frame surrounding all 6 missing people, just 24 years. That's a very small amount of time. The most, there's decades between certain people missing in this. It's not something that happens all the time, but it's still happening currently. It's not something that can just go away or some random creature. There's cases recorded with weird shit like this happening to the early 1800s.
Okay.
Before the 1800s, there's a couple cases in the 1700s. I just don't address them because they're from the 1700s. I feel like the 1800s is a good cutoff. But so Vermont's the only time frame surrounding all 6 missing people was within a very tight time frame. So continuing from there, the entire state of Pennsylvania, not just a random spot, the entire state of Pennsylvania is a cluster. An amazing accumulation of juveniles who have disappeared under very similar circumstances. And I didn't want to hit on those circumstances too much because I have a whole section right here in the book that I sat here, read out, and highlighted the certain things I want you guys to hear. Because these are characters, not just one thing found about a person that links to these characters. Much of these people connect to these attributes, as in they went missing with their dogs in a rural setting. Dogs, trained police dogs could not track them, and they were also disabled, and they were found with the fever. So I'm gonna go into those facts. I'll show you in a sec, but it looks like you're about to say something.
No.
Okay. So I'll go into I gave you a couple notes on clusters with Northern Illinois and only being females, the entire state of Pennsylvania. Sorry, word jumble.
State of Pennsylvania.
The entire state of Pennsylvania is a cluster. But coming down to unique factors, these are the main factors that David Pauletti's studies, and it's always in a rural setting, not a city or downtown location. There were usually no witnesses, and by witnesses, he means people that were in the general area where they go missing. No one has ever seen a human being go missing in these cases. It is
Yeah, but
they were within certain yardage. So they were bringing them out to that area, but they did not hear them. They did not see them go missing.
Yeah.
So going from there, there's a huge correlation with dogs, pet dogs. Many of the cases involve children following their dogs into the wilderness. They just chase after their dogs. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sit here and highlight anything more than that. I'm just giving you facts. That's all. Bloodhound canines cannot track the scent. Expert tracking dogs were brought to the scene of disappearances, and they either refuse to track a scent or they can't find one.
Yeah.
Which is odd that they refuse to track a scent. Is they'll smell it and they'll be like, no, not following that. Not following that.
Yep.
And it's weird because this happens in most of these cases.
Yep.
The correlation with dogs is one of the higher ones. But going from there, the next major correlation with how people go missing is the fact that they're disabled or impaired. Anything from hearing to eyesight, any disablement. But mainly if it was that you were not as socially aware of your surroundings, that they would disappear. But the more that these cases come apparent is the kids that actually have disablements, there is no consistency. The only consistency is that they have a missing case. And all they can see is that the numbers do not add up, and the fact is it being incoincidental because the people that they will talk to, they'll sit there, tell their story, but then the rest of the 80%, they're not comfortable telling their story. You know?
Yeah.
And 100% granted, I understand people not being able to tell their story.
Yeah, 100%.
It's extremely damaging and hurtful to yourself.
Yeah. You're afraid.
Yeah.
I understand that, dude. With the people that do tell their stories, that's the thing, is they're usually bullshitting, you know. Man, I seen a Squash man the other day. He walked right past me. He looked at me real quick. Did you get a picture of him? Nah, man. I tried to go for my gun, but it wasn't, like, there was no gunpowder in it. What?
So you loaded your gun without gunpowder?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so no, I definitely read into those type of cases. It's just the majority of these, they have weird cases, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
There's the majority of people that are found, they are found by some source of water with a fever. And I'll read a quote from it really quick, is, I believe children returning with fevers occurred many more times than noted. The condition was not told to the media, and it was as a normal medical anomaly. So many of these kids or people that went missing, they would report fevers, but none of them noted that. Okay? And that's not something to say is that's the answer or anything. It's just the fact is that how highly consistent it is among all of the missing people is they will be found with a fever. So going into this next case, this
when
ties...
they're dead?
No. Alive or dead. Alive or dead. So
how are they checked with fever?
As in they'll find somebody, they'll bring him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Check them for a fever. They have a fever and they'll die.
Okay.
Or they'll have a fever and they come back.
Okay, fair enough.
They had no explicable. But coming from that, he has one of the major footnotes for this type of research is that they are found conscious or semi-conscious. So they'll be found randomly wandering the wild. Like there was this one girl that went missing for 3 or 4 days. And they searched for her 3 or 4 days repeatedly within a square mile area of where she went missing. Yep. And she was found within a cave that was 200 yards from where she went missing.
No crap.
Yeah, she was found in there, and she was just like, hey, she literally said, hey, I'm here. And that's all she said. She had no
Hey,
explanation for how
I'm
she
here.
went missing. Yeah. So,
She-
exactly.
Dude, okay,
So
that kind of stuff is
yes.
like, okay,
It's the fact is, because statistically, children do not distort the truth unless they are being accused of something. So a lot of these kids will come back and describe weird stories. Like the one I described to you back from 1809.
yeah, but dude, I used to like sneak out of my house, go sleep somewhere else, do it in the wilderness and stuff like that, and then
But
when
you
I was
didn't have
young,
any of
dude.
these explanations. You didn't have any of these. And
No,
you going out-
but that girl, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd be like, hey, I'm here, and then I
this
wouldn't.
is the difference.
Yeah.
This is the difference. Is
Yeah.
you went out to meet a girl in your neighborhood or a nearby neighborhood.
No, not even for that reason. I'm talking younger.
This person went missing
Yep.
in the middle of a national park.
Okay.
That's not
fair enough.
something that somebody goes and wanders.
but that'd be
That's,
cool.
hey, let's go to Yosemite. Let's discover what Yosemite has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the scary part to me is all of these weird cases that I'll list up, which I will list up furtherly through all of the episodes because this is something that cannot be tied in within a 3-hour episode. It is not. You have to sit there and invest at least 50 hours of reading just to be able to sit here and understand exactly where I'm sitting at and realizing that a lot of these cases do not line up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of inconsistencies between these stories, but the consistencies that line up cannot be ignored. So all I did was read you the origin to some. I didn't even read you yet. I was just reading you certain cases. So we got past the bloodhounds, disabled people. People are found with a fever, and I believe so. He said, "I believe children returning with fevers. It happens more times, like how I quoted before. It happens more times than noted." Because back in that time, people did not analyze that type of stuff as much. So people were also found conscious or semi-conscious, where the missing are found unconscious lying on the ground, and one question later, they have no recollection of how they came to be missing. They don't know how they disappeared. They don't know why they were gone for 2, 3, 4, 5 days or 2 weeks. It's just inexplicable. It does not make sense. So that's where he ties in these cases in the sense where they do not make sense. It's not something to be like, oh, well, they could have been taken by a bear. Because all of these cases, anybody that had been murdered by a bear, you would have found the murder scene. Bears will eat you alive. Bears will destroy you if you're screaming or you're dead. They will get a hold of you and will eat you alive. So that case of a bear eating somebody alive is not shown simply because there's no evidence of a bear showing. The other evidence that they can test is mountain lions because they are very strategic in the way that they kill their prey. They'll kill their prey and bury them underground for a week and then come back and eat them. So the odd thing about some of these findings is how these people will disappear and then be found. So along with the semi-consciousness consciousness scale of people being found, they don't understand everything. They also associate it with kidnapping because many of the cases, they'll be found without certain clothes. But all the clothes that they find in these cases were voluntarily taken off. None of the buttons were ripped. None of the zippers were broken. None of anything. It looks voluntary, as in you're walking through your bedroom.
Check the fingerprints and everything like that.
Yeah, they couldn't necessarily check specific fingerprints because of the clothing and being out in nature and with having weather. But the way that these clothes were taken off were clearly voluntary. In a lot of cases, the only thing that's found voluntary is birds taking apart people's clothes to make for nests because they're a stronger material than what's offered in nature. So why we make pants, blah, 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 That's the majority of the correlations, is kidnapping, clothing being removed. The most common disappearances are between 2 and 5 p.m. Almost every single one is between those time frames. The majority of bodies and people that are found are within swamps and briar patches. And what's weird about that is that children will be found laying on something within the middle of that swamp and be 100% dry. But the way that people went to discover them, they got soaking wet, disgusting, filled with nature, just deplorable situations that you would not put yourself into unless you were looking for another human being. Right?
Sure. I mean, to an extent, though, children are a lot lighter, so stepping on bog is not going to drag you down as much.
Yeah, and so what I'm trying
say-
to say is that there's a note in here about that, is where children that are under 3 years old will not travel more than 2 miles. Most of the time, they'll travel for a while. Statistically, children that are underage will only travel downhill. They'll only travel downhill because to them that makes sense. Is we went to this place, heading uphill means further away. Downhill. Just statistically, that's where kids will go if they have an instinct. I don't know what specific study that they prove that.
Yeah.
It's just that's what the search and rescue teams of the U.S. use as a locus or a point of focus for searching for missing people. But swamps and briar patches and disappearances in the afternoon have something heavy to deal with it. Berries. Anybody that's picking berries, if you were picking berries or playing in the bushes, they will go missing while they're either picking berries or they'll be found eating berries. There's plenty of cases of children going missing. They have no explanation how they go missing, but they'll come back with a handful of wild berries, eating the berries, or they'll have some type of context showing. But that's the weird thing.
That doesn't tell me anything.
And to an extent, it won't tell you anything. But if you see the similarities between the cases and showing is that if they're interested in berries, and then you go to another case, you would be surprised, just me reading the first 3 chapters of this book, you would be surprised at how many cases tie around the word berries. It's not a simple case. The way that he's trying to tie these things around is thousands of cases of people going missing, and he's explored thousands of cases that do not belong in this. And a lot of people criticize him on that, is that he's not looking up certain cases because whatever, but at the end of the day, they don't fit his criteria. They don't. This is a very odd criteria. If you were to think about it, is the fact is that you have a rural setting. That's common. Rural setting, people going missing. Dogs. Dogs are the most loyal thing on this planet.
Sure.
On top of that, bloodhounds will either not track your scent or refuse it. That's weird.
Okay.
That's weird. Dogs don't usually do that. I'm just saying.
But it happens. It does happen.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying is that I studied criminal justice, and the fact is that dogs are a very very confined form of research, and they're only meant to be used in certain cases, which is more of instantaneous, looking for scents.
Yeah.
That were left. But I feel that a lot of them do not have that factor because they're out in nature. They're experiencing nature. There's a lot of interfering scents.
That's exactly what I'm trying to get at, is that dogs will refuse that because there's so much more going on around them. Do you know how many scents they're pulling?
Yes, but
Trillions.
But the thing is that you can train a dog to only look at 4. So all I'm trying to say is argumentatively that those dogs that are going looking for scents, they are only trained for what we train them. They're not any more intelligent than that. They're not any less
The
intelligent
way that they
than that.
train them, though, is they teach them to deny sense. You
Yeah.
know that? So they take certain sense, and there's some sense in the woods that they have never showed them to deny. Okay, that's where I'm drawing the line. So as far as that,
Yeah, so going from there with those hunters, there'll be some form of disabled or impaired, like I was talking before. From there, they will be found and they will have a fever. Most of the time, they will have a fever. The children... I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast for my brain. But the children returning with fevers had occurred many more times than noted because of the lack of times that they did note them. It was quite consistent that the kids had fevers. But then the times that they did not note that they had fevers, they never noted the fact that they took attention to their mental or physical state. So he was just trying to say is, of all the cases that are found that kids have fevers, there's probably more because it was back in the 1850s all the way up to the 1950s that the most of this research was being done. So all he was trying to say is that there's more than what he's found. That's not everyone.
okay.
It's pretty much what he's trying to go across.
Yeah.
The majority of these cases, cops will claim that it's a kidnapping because the people that were anybody that returns, they'll be showing up in fairly clean clothes, and even though they were exposed to heavy rain, heavy weather, they will have no signs of being exposed to any heavy weather whatsoever. They won't be wet. They won't be dry. They'll just be them. They'll show up. No explanation for how they are the way they are.
What, their time is gone? Time in their head is gone?
I wouldn't even say time is gone. Is just
So what do they report when they come back?
That's the thing is that that's the thing that
So what I
that's the thing
want to
that
hear
they-
some of the reports that they've said, like people actually opening up about
well, I guess I
when
can
they
pull
come
up,
back.
I can pull up a weird report. This was semi-reported while he was gone, and then when he came back was 95% of these cases are inexplicable. He's not trying to form any type of opinion or what happened to anybody.
Sure.
He's trying to point out how weird it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So
The anomalies. Yeah. He's trying to
just anomalies.
pull out
That's
anomalies.
what he just tries to point out anomalies.
Yep.
But I guess I'm trying to remember the exact origin of the question you're trying to have me answer.
What is the? I want to hear some of the things that they come back and they say, like when people actually are found alive and nursed back to health. I want to know what, or people that are found completely alive and know.
That's the weird thing is they consistently do not have a story.
They don't remember.
Children.
They don't remember.
They may remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But it'll be separated bits and pieces to the point that there's no story. So that we wouldn't be able to formulate anything that's happening within that story if they were to tell us. So that's something that I feel...
What about the adults?
Most of them are adults.
Yeah, so what do they say?
They don't know.
What? That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to get.
That's what I'm trying to tell you is that they'll go missing for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
They'll get found. They don't know shit.
Okay, it's just I don't know.
Like they'll get found, and the adults they'll ask them, "Where have you been?" And mainly on a consistent basis, the kids will offer. They'll say, "Dogs took me in." Okay. Dogs took me in. So they'll describe dogs hand feeding them.
Yeah, that happens.
And taking care of them.
That happens.
Not like a human being handing them food. That's how they describe it.
Okay.
Human intelligence. Like they're associating with human beings.
Okay.
But they're not human beings. So that's the explanation.
Like a werewolf?
I don't know. That's where David Paulides pulls off. All he says is, it's weird. He doesn't try and make any assumption. He doesn't try and make any appearance. All he does is
So that's
point
what
out,
they're saying is dogs.
Yeah,
Dog man.
no one's saying
dog
that.
people.
Maybe
Okay.
some of his fans, but David Paulides, if you ask him what his theory is,
But that's what the kids are saying is
That's-
dogs.
well, kids, yes. So honestly, I have to use the bathroom terribly.
Okay.
I just have to go pee, but I'll go and tell you guys a story about dogs specifically and how it was reported back in the 1800s. But before that, I'll just let Adam go on his note and, I don't know, I guess in a way criticize some of my sayings.
Okay. So basically, we have what it sounds like to me like is with the children. Okay. We have a lot of instances in India, China, wherever, usually third world countries where feral children go, well, not feral children go missing, but children go missing and they're found years later. Feral, unable to readjust back into human society, stuff like that. And they'll literally, like, some of these kids will literally be living with packs of wolves, okay, being fed by those wolves, because those wolves are, believe it or not, better at hunting, not than a human, but than a 4-year-old kid, than a 5-year-old kid, okay? I guess I'm having a hard time wrapping my head to that, but it does sound like there is some big anomalies. I guess on the werewolf topic, if that's what really these kids are jumping towards, or there's adults saying that, what I believe is there's no such thing. I've heard some weird stuff. What I can say is what I believe is there might be a species of wolves that's significantly larger than the others. Okay, that is. Let's get a little bit creepy here, but we had dire wolves. What if we still have dire wolves living in the Americas? That is totally plausible. Okay, but I do not believe that there's a humanoid, canic creature living out there. Just defies anatomy at that point. There's no need for paws. There's no need. It just doesn't make any sense that there would be convergent evolution and analogous structures between humans and a dog species. That just makes no sense. As far as we know, there's never been a readjustment of the hips in dogs. We've never seen anything like that. So dogs have never stood on 2 legs, or we've never seen any sort of evolution towards that. And there's no niche to be really filled. There's no lack of niche filling for humans to dogs. Humans pretty much occupy the whole planet. There's no need for a dog to readjust its anatomy to fit that niche. Just doesn't make sense to me. But that is the kid saying this, so I mean, we can't take every witness testimony from a kid. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyways, continue, Trevor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and just to tie in from that is, even if you, from a kid, you only mistold the truth if you were at the fault of it. Otherwise, kids they pour out.
I'm going to use the restroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
You can.
So Adam has to take a restroom break too. Sorry,
Perfect timing.
That hour something mark. But all I'm trying to explain is that kids, all kids will they'll go off in tangents that most human beings won't logically go, simply based off of ignorance. And also at the same time, a lot of kids' opinions are tossed aside because they are kids. So coming from that, I don't know, I kind of wanted, I love highlighting these disappearances because of how weird they sound, especially if you read the cases. Especially once you hear that they all, and almost all of the cases disappear between 2 and 5 p.m. That's weird. But you can take this book that I'm reading. It's his first book. It's David Paletti's Missing 411, the Eastern United States. And that is only listing people that are based off of the Eastern United States or close enough to the Eastern United States to be categorized. So coming from all of the things that I have already listed based off of the factors, you have to realize how odd this is there's a rural setting. They're on the middle of nowhere. Most of them have dogs that are involved with the children. The children will follow the dogs. The bloodhounds and canines that are sent to track these people cannot or will not track their scent. That's weird. Dogs usually do not say, we won't track it. So from there is also the disabled and impaired. So that is mainly people that have physical disabilities that are out camping. They have crutches, they're in a wheelchair, they have physical, some sort of mental disorder where they can't communicate correctly. But from there also, most of them will be found with a fever. Most of them will be found semi-unconscious. They won't realize what has happened. Most of the profiles fit of a kidnapping because there's no evidence in the recent area, and it is like they got plucked from where they were. They just disappeared. And then law enforcement officials backed off their position, and the fact is that people got taken because it was never explained why. In hindsight, many of these cases occurred in rural areas, and the press of local sheriff may not have wanted to alarm the community. So they may have seen these cases. They might have understood them, but they did not properly report them because due to small communities, they didn't want to freak people out because there are weird things that go on in nature, and it'd be selfish to say from here is that there are things that we don't know. To say there are not things that we do not know.
Yeah. Of course, we're finding new animals all the time. Mm-hmm. Large fauna, it's a lot harder for me to believe that there is a large fauna out there that we haven't found, but there is. You know, we just found a species of deer recently. I can't remember. Maybe it was in South America. It's like 4 feet tall. You know what I mean? Maybe 3 feet tall.
Extremely invasive. They're able to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They just
exactly.
How to do that.
You know, but there's no matter what anybody tells you, we have not explored the full layout of the terrestrial land.
Well, we only know 4% of the ocean.
Yeah, and we know maybe, and this is just estimation, 40% of the terrestrial land. You know what I mean? Of ground that we can walk on. We only know about 40%.
I would say that's generous.
Yeah,
40%.
that is very generous. You know, there's pockets of Earth that have never been touched. Anyways, but it's hard for me to believe sometimes that large fauna aren't found because they migrate so far and they for the.
And that's part of the criticism I have with a lot of these theories is that people will say it's large fauna, but then you would hear claims of people screaming. There's no form of hunting in the world by any creature that silences their prey the second they hit. It just doesn't happen. You have a yelp of cry. You have a yelp of help. You know, there's some form where...
Unless it's an apex predator and it's...
Somehow it closed down on your throat.
Semi-intelligent.
And it closed down on your throat appropriately.
Maybe it bludgeons you. Bludgeons you and hits you in the back of the head.
But you hear that. Is that there's cases... so just to give you an example, after all of the... I didn't even finish all of the attributes of people that are going missing. The other ones is... I mentioned it a little bit before, berries. If they're searching for berries, they'll either get found... They'll disappear searching for berries... They'll get found eating berries, some form of berries. They'll have clothing removed, but it won't be ripped off. It'll be intelligently removed. None of the buttons are ripped. None of the shoelaces are innocuously tied. It'll be their shoes were untied by an intelligent human being.
Okay.
And their shirt was undone by an intelligent human being. And
Could
then
this?
the last thing I want to highlight
okay,
before I
yeah.
get out all this
Yeah.
is there are a large amount of cases where the kids get found where they've already been searched for.
Yeah.
So there is a large amount of these cases where kids, I'll give a specific example. I can't give a name or a date because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But one of the cases that I read is the kid was found on a trail that was used for the search and rescue to get out to the certain locations to look for him.
Okay.
And from there, the kid was never found. Besides those weird radio signals, which he has no reason to have those radio signals.
Who has radio signals?
Well, I'm saying is like if the kid had a walkie-talkie on him,
Okay.
or he had a phone.
Yeah. Oh, so that he heard like this is where they're reconvoying
Yeah,
at, or
somehow he got some call. Yeah.
I get okay. So that dude, it is substantial evidence. Don't ever let me take that away.
Well, I'm not saying that you're taking it.
Yeah.
You're
So,
just a skeptic.
Yeah, exactly.
by-
It's a lot harder for me, and I probably won't even believe it unless I swear, dude, unless I see it with my eyes or it's physically proven. You know what I mean?
And that's the scary
factual.
part about these books is none of them ever claim any physical representation. That's the scary part. Is
That is freaky.
They
That is-
disappear in situations. There was a guy that disappeared walking in a field. The person looked the other direction for no more than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
In an open field.
Yep.
Open field.
Yeah.
You're walking through grass.
Yep.
The guy was gone.
I actually
They
heard
turned
this,
around. They
I
turned
heard-
around. A minute later, he was gone. And that does
heard
not
this
make
story.
sense. If an animal picks you up, if an animal takes you away, you are going to make noise.
So I
you
heard
are
this
going to do
story. I
something.
heard this story years ago. It was about this runner. I want to see if I can find it real quick, but it was about this runner, and I'll try and paraphrase it as much while I try and find the exact article that I was looking for. So it was about this runner, and he was on a marathon or something like that. Maybe he's just running, but there was people with him. Now he was running, and this kind of freaked me out. You know, whether something happened, I don't know, and I'm never gonna say definitively what happened. He was running, and he was in front of everyone, but he was never out of sight, and everybody's watching him. Everybody's looking for it because when you're running, you're kind of like, you know, kind of meandering. Yeah. You're looking forward. You're just, you know, not really. You're focused on the task at hand. At least that's what I do when I'm running. And I've seen, you know, marathons. I've been in a triathlon before. Very kiddie triathlon. Not very serious, but get on this bike. No, swim a little bit. It's like is that like Stony Creek Metro Park? So he's running in front of them. And he goes disappear. He literally trips. Okay. Trips in front of everyone. Everyone sees him trip. And like that.
He's gone.
He's gone. Literally in front of everyone. Now and I don't remember if it was a marathon. And I'd like to say that it was a marathon because then it would deject what I'm about to say. If it was a few people, this is what my mind runs to. They murdered him.
There was a case that was like that though. It was around Crater Lake in I think Utah. This hitches towards one of the common attributes of people that go missing. Sons or daughters of people that are out, they will just randomly disappear. They'll disappear. For example, what I was talking about to tie into this situation is there was a father that brought his, I believe he was autistic. On the minor side of the spectrum, he was autistic. So he would take him out to public places and parks to explore. And this kid eventually got startled by some factor, either from the lake or from something they were looking at that was above the grade on the lake. Basically what happened was the lake is a crater, so the lake itself is the lowest point, and everything above it, everything outside of it is above that grade. So when that kid saw whatever he saw, he ended up running towards the woods away from the lake. While he was running away from the lake, there was a biker that almost ran him over. And so that biker offered his own, version of what happened. And when it went down, all he said was, as the kid ran in front of him, he slammed on the brakes, watched the kid run across the road and run up grade into the hill and into the woods. So the father followed that kid. This biker even noted the fact is that he saw this kid running towards that. Saw the father running towards that kid. And this kid crested over the hill, as in the sense is he hit the highest point of the hill. And when he hit that highest point of the hill and went down the backside, the father could not find any trace of this child whatsoever.
That's pretty creepy.
Not whatsoever. He could not find anything. And then days later, they found the kid laying face down in a snowstorm in a field, fully conscious. They picked him up, laying as stiff as a board. So his elbows were at the kid's knees and his chest. Mm-hmm. Picked the kid up. They thought he was dead. They pick him up. The kid was conscious.
This is a pretty creepy website, dude.
Finally found it.
No. It's giving me a lot of ones where people go missing into thin air while people are watching.
Well, that's a major explanation of the missing 411s. Is a lot of people, they explain is people will go missing in midair. A lot of people they'll say is that's the manifestation of future technologies is time travel. A lot of people will say time travel doesn't exist because it's not evident.
There could be loop and wormholes. We literally have evidence. We have sufficient evidence, and I don't pride myself on knowing everything about this, but we have sufficient evidence that there is quarks or some sort of openings in the space time and stuff like that. That if we manifested them and grew them, that they could potentially put somebody 50 years in the future or transport them back or something like that.
Yeah. All I'm trying to say is at this time, what's trying to get disproven is that the fact is that it's time travel, where I don't think that we're at the point where that can be disproven.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be more across the idea of they're arguing what's possible rather than what they want out there. I feel the majority of people that criticize it just don't have the educated opinion.
This might be a book that you like, Trevor. I'm going to read this case real quick from what I see. Okay, it's something called, there's a book called D.B. Cooper, Case Closed, and also there is a show, I believe. It says, here's the D.B. Cooper hijacked a plane, vanished into thin air. Right? Mm-hmm. The D.B. Cooper case is pretty legendary and has been the subject of songs, movies, documentaries, and folklore since the day it happened. According to the website, more spillage. Here, give me 1 second, guys. Because it got on my phone. It wasn't me this time.
No, it was my turn.
Hey,
I accidentally spilled my coffee. I'm not awake enough.
Equipment.
I've been up since, 7 in the morning? Sorry, I'm tired.
Something like that.
My apologies.
Just get the drinks away from you.
Oh yeah, just keep your drinks away from you and don't be us. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I'm saying actually keep your drinks away.
Well, I don't know. In a jokingly way, don't be us to spill your drinks.
Don't be us. Okay, we do.
We do it all wrong. We get so tied into looking each other's faces.
This table was great at one point. Now it's gonna be.
It's gonna
be a host for wet.
It's gonna
be. Oh my god! Can you hand me that? Never mind. All right, guys. Try and clean up my computer.
Sorry, we're trying to find the prime place for cup holders because To be honest,
far away from us, dude.
Well, it has to be far away because the times that we spill drinks, it is 100% honesty that
I was gonna say I just spilled something.
All we try and do is try and make it natural to grab the mic. But so far, what we're discovering is wherever we set a drink that's near us, even if it's coffee, we'll spill it. So we're trying to find that natural place for us to be able to hold the drink on our table and not knock it over.
I'm keeping it far away from now on.
Because we're constantly trying to keep eye contact.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to hold this conversation because at the end of the day, it's me and Bear Who, and we love talking to each other. So we're going to sit here and stare at each other.
Yeah.
But if you ever see those moments, that's mainly what it is.
Eyes.
Look into my eye.
I know it's told me lies. Okay, so all right. Let me re-go from the beginning. All right. So DB Cooper, hijacked plane, vanished into thin air. I'm very sorry, guys, if this is a little bit discerning to you. He dropping the drinks and spilling them over, but we're trying to make it work. All right. Anyways, so DB Cooper case is pretty legendary. It's been the subject of songs, movies, documentaries, and folklore since the day it happened. According to the website Crime Documentary, on November 24th, 1971, a man dressed in a suit and tie hijacked a Northwest Orient flight bound for Seattle, Washington, from Portland, Oregon. The hijacker claimed to have a bomb, and he was demanded $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. Why did he want 4 parachutes?
That's such a small amount of cash.
Yeah. Why do you want 4 parachutes? In case one goes... Every single one has an emergency parachute.
So you got 8 parachutes.
I got 8 parachutes.
We got one fat guy.
Dude, I need at least 4 parachutes.
I've got 4 fat guys.
Give me 5 airplane shots. I need... Okay.
Just to logically break that down.
Yeah, exactly. Give me $200,000.
Yeah.
What? Okay. You don't want more money? And 4 parachutes. Okay. Why? Okay. Anyways. So he wanted $200,000 in cash for 4 parachutes. Once he got his ransom, the man jumped into the night, never to be seen again. Crime Documentary noted. In quotations, in the more than 45 years since the epic heist, the FBI has looked at over 1,000 potential suspects, but the questions remain: who is DB Cooper? Did he die? Did he live? And he's still out there. I think he jumped out of the plane. Yeah, he jumped into the night. He got his $200,000 and jumped out of the plane.
I think he just face planted.
Probably. Well, the case remains the only unsolved aviation crime in the U.S. history. A man claiming to be the brother of D.B. Cooper contacted the late writer and director Nora Ephron.
He contacted a dead writer. Is that what I heard? Is he contacting
the late writer now? No, but they probably died after he contacted it.
Just like, oh, they died. All right, let's email.
Yeah. According to the story in New York Magazine, the FBI investigated but could not determine if the man's story was true. Despite working on the case for more than 45 years, no evidence of the hijacker or the ransom money was ever found. Okay, so here, this is kind of pissing me off. How could he not find out if it's true or not? Does he have a brother? Can his brother be located? If not, what has happened to his brother? Is there any discernible...
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing that ties into the cases that I'm talking about is the lack of cooperation.
Yeah.
Is for a specific park, they were talking about Yosemite, right?
Yeah.
And when they asked them for a price to be able to get a list of the people missing from Yosemite, they told them something around $34,000.
That's not that much.
That's a lot.
And
you can show
if they're
up,
breaking the secrets.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you is you can show up to any police precinct, ask them for a case, like a list of people missing cases. You will have that within an hour. They were trying to tell them is we will not show you a list of people missing from Yosemite until you give us $34,000. If you want a true list of everybody that's missing throughout the entire United States, we will charge you $1.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the weird thing to me is that you can show up to any cop precinct, any sheriff,
Yeah.
And you can ask for a list of missing people cases,
Yeah.
and you will get that entire list within an hour. But then when it comes to these missing people cases,
Are park rangers
no, they're not governmental. They're not government employed.
they're not
They're separate.
national parks.
Well,
they for sure have to be.
It's in the same sense as that I was confused with if FedEx has a government employment. Is I feel that they have the affiliation.
Well, because you got to listen to this. Certain presidents have to do the national park funding.
Well, the only thing that really funds national park funding is hunters. That's it.
No,
that's
we literally pay taxes towards national park funding.
I'm telling you right now, you are wrong by saying that. Is that hunters pay 90% of all the national wildlife? They're the only reasons why they're alive?
Yeah,
is hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the same way that you have to get a fucking parking permit or something to park in a certain spot. Okay, it's still done through the government. The government is given that money, and then the government gives the money back to the parks in which they believe that they deserve for sustaining. For sustaining. The parks do not make that money. The government makes that money. Okay? The park does not have a bank.
What you pull in.
Yes. So they are government paid officials, okay?
In a way.
It's not a business. A national park is not a business.
I'm not trying to say
even though you pay money to get in.
Yeah. No.
It is given to the government.
Of course, the majority, at least 70.
Okay, it's like getting your license renewed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're paying it to the government. Mm-hmm. You're not paying it directly towards the DMV or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, continue on that. They didn't know if his brother's story, his quote-unquote brother's story, is true. Despite working on the case for more than 45 years, no evidence of the hijacker or the ransom money was ever found. Many thought Cooper surely perished due to the temperatures that were at least 70 degrees below zero when he leaped from the plane, but no remains were discovered. In 2016, the FBI officially suspended the investigation. I get it. After 50 years, they're like, okay. Yeah. This dude's dead, or his family's well off. Well, no, not well off. You only asked for $200,000 and 4 parachutes, dude. Never mind, your family's not well off. This dude was a madman. I get it. In what year was this? 1971. Okay, yeah, 50 years. That is 1971. That's still not a lot of money. Despite working on the case for more than 45 years. Okay, so we're past that. Although the FBI will no longer actively investigate this case, should specific physical evidence emerge related specifically to the parachutes or the money being taken by the hijacker. Those parachutes, man. Well, the individuals with those materials are asked to conduct their local FBI field office. Yeah, that's...
Well, the weird correlation between all that...
I thought there'd be a lot more... I thought the plane would go missing.
No.
I thought that's what the story... No, I thought that's what the story would be. Because it was like, man hijacks a plane, vanishes in midair. I thought...
No, the plane vanishes. Literally just...
No. The plane did not vanish. He jumped into the night.
No, I'm saying as in it just vanishes out of radar. And then he's gone, but the plane is found.
No, the plane was never lost.
Oh, well, I'm reading about a separate case then. So, because there was a case in New Mexico where that exact thing happened, and then they found the plane, but they found the people's tracks that left that plane for about 10 miles, and then it looks like they were just picked up off the soil.
Okay.
So that's the case I was thinking about.
What I want to ask you, though, on your missing 411 thing is, I guess... Could it be? I mean, this is what I'm kind of pulling it from it. Is there a lot more serial killers in this United States than what we think?
No, because the way that it's planned is it's any human being across any form of nature, they are not able to perfectly orchestrate.
Cults.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm saying cults.
Well, cults, they even
That's a great explanation.
No, even themselves. Most cults, what you're bringing into representation is they follow that doctrine within a decade, and then it disappears. Like Jim Jones or John Jones, Jim Jones, John Jones.
Freemasonry.
Freemasonry is not the same thing. Freemasonry is
I
only
understand that, but
Freemasonry
you can't
is,
say that they can't exist.
well,
for
I'm
more
not
than
saying they can't
10
exist.
years.
I'm not saying that that's the case.
Yeah.
Is all I'm just trying to say is from the traditional pass down of stories across American culture, this does not correlate. So, but it does correlate with other cultures that were interweaving with us.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because a lot of Native American culture, I won't even say explains, but it correlates with what the missing 411.
Missing 411?
Yes.
Same
a
people
lot
go
of,
missing.
as in, there are some clusters on this map that are highly associated with where we overpopulated and took over their locale, wherever they belong.
Don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to fully disprove. I'm just trying to give a light of
No,
it.
you're giving a skeptic point of view.
Yeah, not even that. Possibilities. Mm-hmm. And my possibilities are never right, dude, because we're never going to find out whether I'm right or not.
Yeah.
We will never find out if you're right. Well, you haven't even came up with a definitive thing. We'll never find out if another, opinionated person or whatever is right or wrong. Or, any sort of explanation is right or wrong, because most of these people have died. Most of these people are found,
I would say,
far later, and they don't want to talk about it.
89% of people have been found dead, and the other 11 have been found alive.
So, even, I got another story for you guys. Well,
I guess what were you trying to tie in?
The Dyatlov incident.
That you're trying to pull in this, but that also has a somewhat paranormal.
So yeah, this is something that
weird as shit.
This is something that that I have trouble even dissuading myself from.
Especially me too. I heard about this 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard about this a while ago, dude. I remember I saw a YouTube video or something on it, and I was like, and it baffled me enough that I think I watched that, and I watched some movie called Troll Hunters or something like that. It's on Netflix. And then it was it kind of freaked me out even more, because I think it was in Soviet Russia or something. I don't remember, Ukraine or something. So basically, a summary of it is it's just an event where 9 people in northern Ural Mountains.
It was in Russia, right?
Yes, which is Soviet Union, so Soviet Russia.
So you have to keep in mind
the
timing.
Between the 1st and 2nd of February in 1959, and still is in uncertain circumstances. So I guess, okay, here's in January of 1959, 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. So it's named
Igor.
Igor or Igor. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Igor.
I'm just saying Igor because of the one Disney movie. That's all.
Don't come haunt me.
No, I'm pretty sure you will. Go ahead.
In January of 1959, 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov led a group of 8 young Soviet hikers, comprising 7 men and 2 women, and mostly university students, into the Ural Mountains, attempting to reach Mount Ortorton from the small settlement of Vizhai. It took more than 3 years to locate all 9 of their bodies. That is insane.
That's weird.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead and explain how they were found.
They were found about 6 miles away from their destination.
Mm-hmm.
These are seasoned hikers. Okay, even though they might have been adolescents or whatever.
This is what they go to school for.
This is what they go to school for.
This is why they're going to school.
Yes, exactly. They were found about 6 miles away from their destination in a forest about a mile away from their campsite, with their skis, shoes, or coats in approximately negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Did I say with their skis? Without their skis, shoes, or coats in approximately negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit weather. 2 of them had fractured skulls, 2 more had major chest fractures, and 1 hiker was missing her tongue. Soviet investigators listed the cause of deaths as a compelling natural force.
Overly compelling.
Quote unquote, this is what they labeled it as, a compelling, not an overly compelling, but a compelling natural force. Now to compel.
To overly compel is what you were going to talk about, though, is that there is way more evidence upon that in the case that I've read, at least, is the fact is that how people were the way the scene looked of how they went missing is they measured temperatures in the snow of accelerating over 1,000 degrees.
Yep.
In that there were claw marks scraping from the inside out, as in people were trying to get out of their tents.
I'm going to continue.
Not the door.
Yeah. So we'll get the full story. And abruptly closed the case. So the officials, the investigators, abruptly closed the case not even a month later. This is something that they've chopped up to a compelling natural force. Okay, so skiers set up camp about 5 p.m. on February 2nd, 1959. So this is maybe the day after or something like that. So here's what we know about the incident. 6 of the skiers died of hypothermia and 3 died of injuries. They died separately. 2 of them were found under a cedar tree near the remains of a fire, while 3 others were found in intervals of hundreds of feet from the tree, and 4 more were in a ravine another 250 feet away. The 2 under the tree had burned hands. The 4 in the ravine were found until May 4th. 3 months after the incident, the dead seemed to have donated some of their clothing items to the living. Ludmila Dubinina's foot was wrapped in a piece of I'm not even going to try it. Yuri Krivs. That's where I'm going to stop on his last name. It's like Krivonochchenko's pants. When Semen Zolotaryov was found wearing Dubinina's hat and coat, and some garments had cuts in them, as though they were forcibly removed. Cuts, This is the altitude is so high at this point. Okay, guys, that's what you got to remember. Is this isn't just like hey, they were walking on the street and there was some cuts on their coat or whatever. This is at a summit. You're almost at a summit.
No one else is there.
Yeah, exactly. Consistently, there were 8 or 9 sets of footprints in the snow, accounting for only the skiers and not suggesting another party's involvement, on foot at least. There was no sign of struggle. What does that even mean, dude? Was there somebody flying around on a glider?
No blood.
There was no footprints.
Yeah, no footprints.
There was literally just the people's footprints.
Yeah.
The ones who were dead.
They were fleeing the tents.
Yep.
Yeah, that
in
was
the snow, accounting for only for the skiers and not suggesting another party's involvement, or on foot at least. There was no sign of struggle or of any other human or animal approaching the campsite. There was a snowstorm the night of February 2nd, when it was determined via their diaries that they died. Their campsite was made on the slopes of Kholat Syakhlal. They called it, quote-unquote, the Dead Mountain, at about 3,600 feet. Okay, that's very high up. Colorado is about, Denver, Colorado, I think is about 1,000 feet above. That's very high. 1,000 feet even is very high above.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 3,600 feet. All the travelers, 8 of them in their early mid-20s, was Zolotaryov in his late 30s. Were experienced mountaineers having skied across frozen lakes and totally uninhabited areas to get there. Despite nasty weather and slower progress than they planned, their last diary entries reflected high spirits, charmingly, in a very typical Soviet way of bonding. They even produced a little newspaper about the trip, which they titled The Evening Ortotin, which bore the headline, "From now on, we know that the snowmen exist." That is the name of the last thing that they wrote. From now on, we know that the snowmen exist. It goes on to say they can be met in the northern Urals next to Ortorton Mountain. They were, it's thought, probably joking, referring to themselves. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit too leading. But
That's cryptic.
yeah,
It's cryptic the way that they said it. From now on, this is the headline of the newspaper title that they were writing. From now on, we know that the snowmen exist. That is freaky. That is freaky to me.
I feel like that's
Sounds like a bunch of rock monsters, dude. Sounds like rock monsters. After the first 5 bodies were found, a legal inquest began, eventually determining that the cause of death was hypothermia. The death seemed kind of straightforward at first.
I don't know. I guess there's a case that I can sit here and try and explain further to try and show you is that they fit underneath a weirder set of circumstances.
Yeah.
There's this town. They're based in not Sweden. They're based in Sweden. And what the main base of this town is British people buying property up there to, have vacation on their property. So coming from there, that town has very specific finite forms of transportation. The only way to get out of this city, it's in the crevice of a mountain, is by train. This train shuts down at 12 a.m. So once it's 12 at night, it reaches the morning, you can't touch this train. You can't. There's no way. There's no one operating it, nothing. Mm. So after 2 a.m., this British family that was exploring this city, they have property in there somehow. Mm-hmm. One of the males ends up walking back one of his cousin females. And what ends up happening is the male walks into the hotel with her. You can see this on CCTV, public TV. He walks in around 2:20 something a.m. and she claims that he left around 2:50 something a.m. to go back home to his hotel room to get some rest. But he was never viewed on these on this public social. He was only looked at as a noise, I guess, to CCTV until people brought it up that he was missing because he had no suspicious behavior. He only brought a family member back to the hotel. And that was really all that was it. And the only future phone records of this guy was at 3:26 a.m. after he went missing. He was found at the bottom of a ravine that was a 70-foot fall on a cliff that was in a city that you could not reach unless you went by train. But he was found there, or at least his phone records went off there at 3:26 in the morning. And he was not found till the next day. And the only way you could travel to that city as a legal citizen, the only way, legally, unless you went there underground, you physically would not be able to get there.
Yeah.
You could not get to that city. So this guy, the way they ended up finding him was that the first person in his contact list was called. So if you remember back in the day on your flip phone, when we were kids, you could accidentally call or text the first person on your
talk or something like that.
Yeah, you accidentally call the first person on your contact list or text them.
Yes.
That happened all the time. And so their prediction was when he hit the bottom of that cliff, he sent a text message to the first person in his contact list, hands down, at 3 something a.m.
Yes.
Well, 3:26 a.m. So they're predicting he hit the bottom of that cliff at 3:26 a.m. Because there's no way that he could make it over there. There's physically no possible way that he could make it to that city without taking that train. Otherwise, you would have to walk the tracks of that train and die on those tracks.
Yeah.
You would walk them and die them.
Yeah.
That's the weird part to me.
Yeah, that's freaky.
And a lot of people, they try and bring some uniformitarianism into it, as if it's not happening now, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's never happened. Or
Yeah, which I feel is extremely disingenuous because there are things that happen within a small period of time on this earth that are more massive than anything else. It's just they haven't happened within this recorded lifetime.
yeah, 100%. So I want to finish up the story though, as far as
Yeah, so we can go off on our own tangents.
yeah. And then I have a couple things that I want to just like
course.
bounce back and forth. We don't have to have any sort of reference on them.
That's fine.
The skiers were badly okay.
Going back
So
to your story.
yeah. So back to the Dyatlov incident. So there was a paradoxical undressing, which happens in about 25% of hypothermia victims, about how they strip themselves of everything.
Yes.
Right, and that accounts for
That's
it.
a major-
I'm not gonna say that.
No, that's
that-
a major criticism of David Pletty's.
Yeah.
That hands down, that is
Yes,
one of the majors.
Yes. Yeah. There's a huge dude. Every time that people get hypothermia, they get hot cold flashes. They start undressing.
Well,
There's,
what
like,
ends up happening is that the human body itself, the blood vessels
start
swell.
yeah, and
so
your
that you
internal
feel
body
the-
temperature
yes,
goes up.
You feel
Yeah.
the increasing internal body temperature, so that even though you are in a technically sober state of mind,
Yeah.
you will just end up taking clothes off because your blood vessels are swelling.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're naked in nature.
Yeah.
All simply because of your brain.
So
So just to continue off
which
of that.
happens in about 25% of hypothermia victims. As the hypothalamus malfunctions, the body temperature seems to rise when it's really dropping. But then it got super weird. Here's where it got super weird. The skier's badly damaged tent, it was determined had been cut open from the inside. This is what Trevor was talking about before. Yep. And all of their stuff was still in it. Why were they dead of exposure if they had access to their winter gear before going out into the freezing winds? To all appearances, these are this isn't just an average person. This is a seasoned.
They're going to school for it.
They'd had hypothermia before, guaranteed.
Yeah, they went to school for it.
Yeah, exactly. Why were they dead of exposure if they had access to their winter gear before going out into the freezing winds? To all appearances, they appeared to have left the tent out of their own volition, and it was in a hurry. Bizarrely, like there was something in there or something attacking them.
Well, that's what I wanted to hint.
Yeah.
Is from them, the notes of them scraping outside of their tents. Well, scraping their tents from the inside out.
Yeah,
Trying to get out of their tents, at least the evidence that they have, was that it was clear that they're running away from something because they found marks on the ground from where they were running away.
We'll run
that
into
the
that.
yeah that
We'll
the
run into
snow
this,
has
yeah.
1,000 degrees.
so we'll run into that. So
just to be fair, really
Yeah.
quick, is me and Bear, who we separately research topics,
yeah,
so we may know a bit about each other's, but it was honestly freeform. He went and looked for something. I went and looked for something. I've talked to him a lot more about 411 than him has talked to me about his subject, but I'm really into these weird subjects.
Yeah,
so if
exactly.
it sounds like it's rehearsed or anything, it's only because I have read about it.
yeah.
Or
We haven't
heard
discussed
about it.
this about
No,
anything
not really
before.
at all. So continue, my beautiful brother.
Yeah, thanks,
Go
man.
ahead.
Excuse badly damaged. To all appearances, they have left the tent with their own volition. Who, along with Dyatlov and Xena, seem to have died in a pose indicating he was trying to. There was a man that was in a pose that he was trying to return to the.
Resuscitate?
No, that he was trying to return to the tent. He had a small crack in his skull, but it was ruled that the elements that what killed him was not the fracture. No external wounds were discovered. So the fracture in the skull actually did not kill him.
So that was separate.
And this is a little
So he
bit
didn't
weird.
have,
So
like-
we have no animal known that kills for sport, that also kills and
Besides, like the
And
Wolverine
bashes
and
skulls.
cats.
they don't even really
No,
kill
the
for
Wolverine kills for sport,
It
but
might,
other than
it
that,
might.
cats they'll
Yeah.
kill, but they bury. And
I guess I
then come
haven't
back.
really done enough research on a Wolverine or anything like that.
Well, the Wolverine is almost extinct. So that's what I was trying to say is that even the animals that have those hunting purposes where they just kill to kill,
Yeah.
they eat, even them, they come back to their kill. Is they strictly kill to kill and then bury their prey and then a week
Probably
later,
return. Yeah.
it's most common with bears. Bears, they'll kill their prey. Most of the time, bears will eat you alive.
But it's
If
not
a-
for sport, dude.
No, no. Wolverines
it's for protection
kill
and sport.
Wolverines
Or
will kill for
protection
sport.
and, protection and for eating.
Yeah. Only Wolverines really do that.
So, and
here.
we have nothing that would just eat your tongue out. Things got really shaken up when the 4 bodies in the ravine were found and examined. Both Dubina and Zolotarov had fractured ribs, while Nikolai Thibault Brignoles had a major skull fracture. One of the investigators compared the force required to injure a human so severely that of a car crash.
Jeez.
The injuries were absolutely not caused by force exerted by another human being. So we know that they did not turn on each other. This was not preempted, and why would they die? Why would they end up just dying too as well? Once again, no soft tissue damage was observed, as though the skiers' bodies were crushed by pressure. When Dubinina was found to be missing her tongue, the theory of another party possible involvement must have arisen again. Who would do this? Why, or did another skier from the group cut it out, and where did it go? But there was absolutely no indications of other people having been nearby apart from other travelers in the Yatlov group. Not even the native Mansi people, sometimes known to inhabit the area. Okay, these Mansi people are known to inhabit the area at about 1,000 feet. 1,000 to 1,500 feet. Okay, that is something
From
we got to keep
where
in
that
mind.
location was, you mean?
It's around that location, but they're.
Gotcha.
I'm saying in summit height.
Oh, okay.
1,000 to 1,500. They are at 3,600 feet, and I've looked extensively into this.
So when you say, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, you're good.
But when you say 3,600 feet, are you talking from the researchers right now?
They are 3,600 feet off the ground.
Yeah, sea level.
Yes, above
Yeah.
sea level.
So
Yes.
from this point, anything that's mentioned. in
Actually, I
feet-
think it's just 3,600 feet up the mountain.
that's what I thought I heard.
It
when I
might be
was-
above. It might be 4,700 feet
But
above
for this
sea
case,
level. Yeah,
3,600.
sure.
Yeah.
We'll say 3,600 above sea level.
Because that's all that's provided. Of course, we're not trying to sit here and misconstrue information.
yeah,
We're,
exactly.
We are. Well, I mean, you're 25 now, or are you about to turn 25?
25 already.
Yeah, you already turned 25. I'm 23.
sir.
We're sitting here. Well,
Remember my age.
what
With
do
my
you mean?
age
The
again.
fact that I sat here and
Yeah.
remembered that you turned 25 just
No,
now. or
you're
about
at
to.
23, man. I don't need any.
Yeah, you know, we're
jokes on
just
that.
trying to sit here and spout out some facts,
Yep.
just to add some perspective. And the fact is that just because you hear from a news source doesn't mean it's true. Well, we sit here and research this type of stuff because it's our passion. So, but to continue off of him, I'm not trying to interrupt. It's just I don't want credibility to be taken away from us simply because we're rambling. This is stuff I've read into this for hours
So,
and hours. And
Here's
yeah.
one thing that orange spheres were sighted in the sky on the night that the Yatlov group died
Yep.
by campers about 50 miles away from the scene. Some explain these as R-7 intercontinental missile launchers. Could be possible. Seemed as the campsite was located. I'm thinking it's a little bit more weird that newspaper. That's about where this
What do you mean
this ends.
weird than newspaper?
This is about where that article ends, but I'd like to talk about what they said. We now know that the snowman.
by the way,
Thanks, man.
just
Been
trying
working
to flirt
out.
with my buddy Barahu.
Thanks, man.
Just trying to compliment him, let him know he's beautiful. That's
Thanks,
all.
man. You too, dude. So, this is that newspaper really fucking weirds me out, dude. I'm not even gonna lie.
How it kind of drops it. You mean?
No,
a sense,
no.
or-
How what they said about the snowmen. Now we finally know.
Yeah, like we finally know that there's.
The snowmen exist.
Yeah.
That freaks me out. Okay, not so much those orange spheres because that could just be missile launch. We know Russia at that time was still working on nuclear missiles, all that stuff.
And you don't even know what North Korea was at that point either. You know, like you don't know what
not
they were
doing nuclear missile
Well,
experiments.
that's to what we know.
No, we kept a close eye on them.
Well, I'm just saying is that throughout history, people that said we keep a close eye, they ended up fucking up.
I guess, yeah.
So all I'm trying to say is coming across is how you were criticizing, well, in a good way. You were criticizing my 411 pitch.
Yeah. Yeah,
criticizing
100%,
in that sense.
Yes,
As in,
yeah.
As
Yeah,
in, there's
dude.
always an option.
There's always an option.
That's not true whatsoever,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's a totally logical explanation. But it just with these series is I sit down and I read for, I would say 20 to 30 minutes a night. But I sit down and read these cases, and the more that I sit down and read these cases, the more odd that they come up, the more odd of circumstances, in places that you think that people would kill people. That's not the case.
Yeah. Could you imagine a Russian dude? Okay, so what we're gonna do? So we hang out in our tents. Cut their way out now. Cut their way out for no reason. These are
Yeah. They're Russians.
okay. I'm
They're
going to
badass
I'm
as
going
fuck.
to go lay in the snow over there. You go lay about 200
30 yards.
feet. Yes, you go lay about 200 feet. You three, you four, you go in the ravine. I eat your tongue out. I go to sleep. I wake up dead.
I love you long time.
Okay, that's. But that it just defies logic. Still, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with him in the sense I am definitely more prone to believing in odd circumstances. 100% more than Barahu.
Yeah.
He is way more of average skeptic, where with me is if you sit here and tell me 10 weird situations, be like, all right, I believe in the Bigfoot river monster.
Yeah.
You know,
I believe in
not that
Sam
not that I sit here and actually believe in it, but if you sit here and tell me your stories and I get the right vibe, I'm going to sit here and love them.
So let's talk about that. Actually, that we just got
Go
on
ahead.
the topic. What's a possibility? What do you think? I want to hear this from you because I already had my inner beliefs. What do you think the possibility is that there is Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, Almas, all that stuff?
I think it's more likely than it is not.
Oh, you think it's more likely?
Well, because here's the thing. Is if you sit there and read David Pauletti's books, he has books that are before that specifically about Sasquatch.
Okay.
And he does the same thing. No, I'm about to explain
Yeah,
to you.
I got you.
He does the same thing in these books where he goes to those places, reports their findings.
Yeah.
He doesn't put any leg in them.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, well, I think it's this.
Okay.
It's literally, this sounds weird. I went and studied it. This is what I got from it.
Yeah. You know what that screams to me, even though it might
ahead.
be out of a
No, go
it
ahead.
just screams, yeah, this guy bullshits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the
So,
more
like-
you sit here and listen to interviews and the way he talks, you realize how invested he is.
Well, the inner psyche, dude. We're always looking for something magical, man.
No, of course. The inner
know what I
psyche, more times you're wrong than you're right because you are looking for a correlation between what you are experiencing and what is happening. But I also find that's a huge a huge error in society today is uniformitarianism, where if it's not happening right now, it's not happening.
That's erroneous belief. Like that's ridiculous.
That's the way a lot. No, uniformitarianism is a subject used in science right now.
Okay.
To
If it's not happening right now, it's not happening.
basically, that is the main argument against Graham Hancock.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's an erroneous belief. It's so stupid to believe that just because this thing hasn't happened, dude.
Yes. No, I agree with you now. I
Bigfoot
just
could totally be
misunderstood you.
plausible. We had something. That's something people often look past is Gigantopithecus blackie, dude. You know what Gigantopithecus blackie is? Monster ape.
Well,
dude.
explain to them.
Okay, it's a monster ape. This was
Related directly
I
to
think it was
human
a
beings.
Pleistocene era. This is Ice Age. Let's just put it in layman's terms. It's in Ice Age times. Okay, there was a creature that resembled an orangutan, but it was roughly 10 times the size.
Huge.
Roughly 10 times the size.
Huge.
10 feet standing straight up, 10 to 12 feet standing straight up. Okay.
Like a dude compensating.
half of a ton. That okay. We have
Hands down.
We have
huge.
let me explain to you. I am 6'2". I am 200 pounds. Okay. This thing was twice my height, 5 times my weight, at least. Okay? So yes, it's totally believable. Do I still believe it? No. Is it hard to find? Okay, we can't find remains of these things. And granted,
to be fair,
apes get smarter.
We might be looking in the wrong place.
We might be looking in the wrong place. That is very true, dude.
Yep.
Do I believe every fucking story that I hear?
No.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah.
But no, you don't. You don't. And
Should I believe every story from? Man, I seen a Bigfoot walk through my yard the other day, man. I shot him once.
That's what I like, though, is that I'm way more tied to reality in some senses. Like, just for a perfect example, last episode that we posted out, how you said I ripped off the whole mirror of my car. You know?
Sure, yeah.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
Is you love to accentuate stories.
Yeah.
And I don't find anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I like
exactly.
that. I like that.
I'm not lying, but I like to pull things and make it sound a lot more funny than what it is.
Well, it's not. I don't even think you're visibly trying to make it more funny than what it was. It's just you're putting Adam's spin on it.
Yeah,
100%. To you, this is why it was funny.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, I don't know. I love that aspect. And so I also like to respect it is you have to realize is that these knowledgeable jumps in the sense that they cannot be explained by nature, as in, oh, they totally didn't evolve thousands of years to get to here.
Yeah.
You know, because basically the closer you get to humanistic behavior, the more people pull away when it comes to linking monkeys with humans.
Sure.
Where there's a direct link.
Sure.
I mean, you both know.
Yeah.
There's somewhat a direct link, not a full defined, but there is a link.
Yeah. Dude, I get it. Okay. People, okay. When you're talking about me doing that, yes. You sometimes you over exaggerate to give a grandiose story. You know what I mean?
Both of us.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Yes, exactly. Dude, I tripped and nearly cut off my whole ankle. My whole ankle. My whole ankle. My whole ankle. No, you didn't. You didn't even
my whole ankle.
My whole ankle. Anyways. You know what I mean? Like people exacerbate a lot of stories.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. And it's not their fault. It's just that's what human
to glorify
beings do.
Their story.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. Because we all want our life to be a little more special than what it is. And that's fine, dude. I want your life to be special.
Well, to be fair, everybody's life is more special than what they think.
Yes. But you can't believe this nonsense. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You literally can't formulate a bullshit story out of thin air. Like, dude, a lot of these people, and I will say, dude, some people might have seen something that they don't understand and might have been in the dark and they chopped it up to, whoa, dude, that looks like a big monkey. Dude, respect, okay? You're not, this is truly what you believe and that's what you saw, okay? But there's a lot of people that sit there and formulate a lie out of thin air and they go,
well, they say what complies to what they're being told or asked.
What?
In a
per
sense,
se, but they want to come up with this fantastic story that defies all logic and comes out of no truth whatsoever. There's literally no truth.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that out of children, if they're not under credulity, I won't even say it, just under some form of crime, they will not come forward.
Yep.
And in the sense where they're not even being questioned about that, but they'll never come forward.
Yeah.
So that's a factor I'd like to take into hand, is that a lot of kids do not tell the story, but the ones that they do get a full story on, and I say full in quotations, as in the fact is that it is not even nearly the full story, it's just the most in-depth story that they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
Even then, kids can't explain. kids will just say, for example, back in, I think it was 1809.
Back in medieval times.
Back in medieval times.
Back in
US.
back when dragons flew the world.
This is kind of personal to us beautiful people because it is straight from Michigan. But there was a Michigan logger, and him and his wife owned a company. So they would log in the middle of the night. They would log all night to be able to get a lot of their work done so then they could sleep within the early hours in the morning and then continue later in the day and continue their logging business. You know what loggers do. I'm not a logger. I look like one, but I ain't one. But,
No, you don't.
where's the beard from then, bro?
Dude. It's called the gamer's beard.
How come no one
called the neck
compliments
beard.
How come no one compliments me, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
I sit here and compliment people on a daily basis, and people won't even tell me how good my beard looks.
My opinion,
It looks
I'm
like
not
shit.
a fan. Okay.
Is this real?
Yeah, dude, that's serious. No, just all beards, man. I'm not
Well,
a fan
I
of
don't want
beards,
to.
dude.
Well, here's the thing:
I
is
can't
I've
grow
had a
one,
clean-
therefore I don't like them.
Well, you're like that GameStop employee, man.
Yeah, but actually better.
But
at
you
least
hate, you
at least I
like
can
people with
grow-
facial hair.
Yeah. Dude, I like goatees, dude. Sometimes
Yeah.
I grow like Tony Stark, and I'm like, "What's up, dude?
I'll start that.
Dude, I'm about to fix this.
Did I tell you what
I'm about
my,
to make this machine that makes me fly, and I can shoot laser beams.
Did
on
I
my
tell you
hands."
what my gamer thing is on Fortnite now?
No.
It's so real.
Oh yes, surreal.
So
Fidelity?
it's SUH.
Oh, yeah,
well,
gotcha.
SU triple H real.
Oh,
So, dude, you'd be surprised at how many people watch my gameplay because they think I'm streamer.
Oh really?
After the fact, yeah.
You're like, holy shit, dude. That looks like a.
looks like a real name.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, no, I just got a good name, bruv.
Yeah.
Got a good name, bruv.
Anyways, back to our conversation.
I
I don't want to distract too much.
Well, I mean, it was mainly centering around the fact is that I'd bring points around you, right?
Yeah.
So we're never going to truly agree with each other. And that's something that me and him truly love too, is that we can sit there and yell at each other for an hour because we don't agree
I
with
particularly
something.
don't like doing it, but
Well,
it happens.
I don't love it.
It happens.
I don't love
I
it.
fucking love it, dude.
But at the same
I
time,
love
it's
making
fun.
you feel like shit.
At the end of the day, I've never looked at you differently
Yeah,
more than
exactly.
any. Well, I've never looked at you anything else other than positive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's So,
Well, dude, we're very passionate about the
well,
things
and
that
we
we
love
talk
each
about.
other
Yeah,
too,
exactly,
and that's
man.
important
Yeah.
as loving who you're doing things with.
Yeah, exactly.
And
dude, could I ask for a better podcast partner? One of my best friends. You know what I mean?
I couldn't.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I
Somebody who can actually hold the conversation with me. Okay, not every one of my best friends can hold a conversation, and I should
in the
say,
proper sense
I hate
of
saying
the
best friend.
podcast.
A very good friend. A very good friend.
Bearhoo, just to give you an explanation, when Bearhoo says best friend, that means top 5. Mm-hmm. That's what it means to him, and that's what it means to me too. Is top
I have
5.
a lot of great friends. I do not like to say best friend.
Bearhoo is
to
a blessing
everyone.
in that sense. He has found some beautiful, beautiful people that I have met, but I don't have the social, the social anchor to tie with them. You know, I'm not there. I'm not
Well,
them.
yeah, you
I'm
haven't,
not
you
doing
haven't
them.
lived the life with them.
Yeah.
that I have. Obviously,
Of course.
and yeah. So different paths. Anyways,
100%. And I love that.
so I want to start talking about like random things. See if you've heard of these, and then we're probably gonna wrap up after that. I don't want to take like 5 pee breaks and whatever, dude.
Well, we've only taken one, so that's good.
That is pretty good.
Honestly, dude, pee breaks, as long as we're talking the way you're talking, there's no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I just wanna divulge in the fact is that people will sit here and like to listen to our conversations.
I hope so.
That's all.
Oh yeah. Also, guys, so the Instagram is up, so you guys can give us a follow if you really do enjoy this. I hope at some point, you guys go back on these episodes and there's future listeners that are like, oh man, I discovered this surreal series and I went back to their first
episode
1 and 2.
22, and I want to listen to the rest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you guys are listening, currently or in the future, give us a like on Instagram, give us a like on Twitter. Give us a little bit more, attention so that
Instagram.
so that we can start rounding up opinions and stuff like that, talking about what you guys kind of want to talk about.
We would love if you guys sent personal messages to tell us how you like the podcast and how you. And
maybe
did
we'll
not
give you guys
like
a
it.
shout out. Maybe from now on we might.
Yeah, no, it's just anything that anybody sends some negative opinion on within the next month and a half, in anything on forward. I was just trying to be specific. But before the fact is, if people sit here and comment on our videos, and say that we did not do something right, then we're going to read that comment, we're going to digest that comment, and we're going to come back to it and realize how we could fix that. Because there are certain settings where some people cannot fix that, and some people won't, even if they recognize it. So all I'm trying to do is recognize the fact is that even if there are people that are bad people, a lot of people will still exacerbate the same message that people like me and Adam will. Just trying to be positive, trying to be good people, trying to encourage people to be who they are. But it won't necessarily be the same message. Everybody's going to have a different message. Some people are going to have the same exact motivational message as us, but they have a whole different reason as to why they came to it. And that's all I really want people to realize. People to realize is that every single human being is a different human being. And not even just a human being, just a being in general. The fact that they're associated in the same human race, that's all that matters. The fact that they have a somewhat similar bloodline, that's really the only thing that matters. So coming from there, how could you sit there and judge a human being? Unless it's someone that's sitting there criticizing the direct work that you do, how are you going to be able to sit there and say that someone's doing something incorrectly? How do you know? Have you studied that for 15 years? You don't know. You don't know at all. Bear who went to leave and take a piss for 10 minutes just now. He might be an expert in how to take a piss. You don't know.
You don't know.
He sat there and read that. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So
know
that's something we want to highlight in this series. What? Well, I was just hooking into everything that we were talking about is you don't realize the amount of weight that's behind a person's words and what they say.
Oh, yeah. The impact that we have on it every day.
And the progression of humanity based off of those opinions.
Yeah.
So what I was just trying to get at is the disingenuous... How would you pronounce that?
Disingenuous behavior?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. The disingenuous behavior. Because, when me and you starting this podcast, there were some... It's not like... Oh, we're popular.
You got way too far away from the mic.
Sorry, I leaned back. My back is starting to hurt.
Yeah. Bring it with you.
Keep about I just wasn't thinking about
6 to 8 inches away from it, though.
Keep in mind, it's the second episode.
We want to get really, intimate. Like,
the love peep coming from the mountain. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to make it too personal.
Is there another trick-or-treater?
No, it's not a trick-or-treater. That's just my dog being a butthole. Oh. I guess we'll just continue from your part.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyways, so I wanted to list off a couple things. This is a website that I found, and it's actually pretty funny. It's not intended to be funny.
What's the main tab of the website? Like, what's their name?
Oh, it's just Listverse.
List first.
List, like a list.
LASTFIRSTE.
Verse.
Well, not E, but list first. I don't
know. No, not list first. List verse.
Oh, list.
Like a universe of lists.
Verse.
Yeah. So the first one that we got is Re and Ilkai, which is basically just translates to a South American version. Oh, Papua New Guinea version of the mermaid. Heard anything about this crap?
I've heard in the past 10 years, but the majority of it's false with mermaids.
Have you heard about? Did you ever see that documentary? It was on
the History Channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, 90% of that's false.
Oh, it's all fake, dude.
Yeah. No, they even admit it. They're just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. They're not mermaids.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Basically, yeah. So there's no possibility. And I said this.
By the way, I'm just going to say really, you like my new glasses?
Yeah, they're sweet.
Well, you want to see them really quick?
No, I don't want to see them. I've already seen them, dude. I've already seen them.
I'm just trying to hand them to you to
right.
make you feel like you love me.
All right.
I'm not going. I'm sorry. I was just trying to fuck with you.
Anyways,
that totally stonewalled what we were talking about.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
want to talk about your glasses, bro.
Yeah, I really don't. I really don't. Rhea and Ilkai, all right?
Go ahead.
So I'm just gonna list off a bunch of stupid ass creatures. And basically, so there was mermaids, the body found. I don't want that.
I'm just offering you Gatorade. That's
All
all.
right. I forgot. You're fucking
Because I
distracting
gave you
me.
a Gatorade?
Yeah, because you're talking about your glasses, then you're fucking throwing me Gatorade.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I'm that
Anyways.
pretty. It's hard for me to be this pretty sometimes. I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
It's not a matter of choice. It's just more of being who I am,
All right.
you know?
Fair enough. Anyways, so,
It's going to be disproven by the next video that's posted.
Yeah.
But till then, hang on.
yeah. Get real pretty over there. Yeah. Mermaids, the body found, dude. It was a stupid ass documentary, and I remember people coming in either his school or just contacting me, like, you know what I mean, close friends, and they were like, "Dude, did you see that? Did you see that documentary?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I saw it, dude." I saw it, dude. Yeah, and so they would be like, "Yeah, there's like a real found footage," and I'd watch the footage, and it's like, okay. They
Throwing a wiffle ball through the bushes.
Yeah, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So I don't know. They ended up they put some CGI on a real found footage thing. So it was a real found footage, but it was the CGI that they just implemented into just this unnecessary documentary that was like a spoof documentary. I don't do it. My computer's being like ridiculous. No, it didn't. No. I actually have it on my phone right here.
Actually, pull that shit up, brother. I got you, homie.
So yeah, basically it was a stupid stunt that History Channel and Discovery Channel were making to pull people in for like Shark Week or some garbage like that. They're basically saying, dude, the funniest thing about this whole thing is they're being so serious about it. And there was a good theory that they posed. There was this aquatic ape theory. And I was like, I totally understand how that could work. You know, me being actually in college at the time and I was studying biology and everything like that.
You'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, so basically how it goes is a couple of apes start fishing in the water. They go into the shallows of the ocean, and
I could easily see that rising within a generation,
yeah,
too.
and
Monkeys are smart.
And they start grabbing fish. You know what I mean? Low, shallow
Monkeys
water.
eat meat, whether you think that or not.
Yeah.
That's something that's irreprehensible.
Irreprehensible, that's not even...
In the sense that monkeys eat meat.
Okay.
As in, you can't retract from that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If I'm understanding that meaning of the word correctly.
I think irreprehensible means to...
Yeah, as in you cannot pull that and apply it to a certain situation. Otherwise, from what it is. Irreprehensible.
Okay.
But coming
beyond
from there,
reproach, blameless.
Yes. Yeah.
Exemplary, good, irreproachable, lily white, unblameable.
Yeah. So what they're trying to say is when they apply it is there's no actual reason they can apply.
Okay.
But also exposure to nature is a very common thing by law enforcement and national park enforcement to use when they cannot explain somebody going missing, which hints into the missing 411 cases.
Yeah.
is the fact is that there is a group of extremely experienced campers that go missing, or not even that, is one person of that group that is extremely experienced goes missing. So that's a case I wanted to bring up. Was there is a case of a woman that goes missing. I think it's in Nevada. I may be wrong. I don't know what state it's in. But Nevada's the one that rings out to me. With Nevada being the case, these people, specifically this one case, the woman that went missing was known as... Sorry, I had to cough. She was known as... It was either the Nevada or the New Mexico Whisperer. Whatever state she was in. She was highly renowned for her knowledge upon the trails that existed in that state, especially national parks. But the people that went missing were in that specific range of where she was knowledgeable. And going from there, the clues that they would search for would include somebody screaming, somebody offering evidence towards that. Right? And that's the part that unnerves me. It's the fact is that through multiple cases, dozens of cases, somebody will up and disappear. Where in most cases, if you were to sit there and explain it as a natural animal attack, natural animal attacks have very specific details as to how they go down and what will be available. When a natural animal attacks a human and it's not for strictly predation, it is confined down to a very small amount of time of when within the person goes missing. At least in the cases that he studies. David Paulides himself. David, and then Paul, I-D-E-S. David Paulides. The cases he studies, it's very weird circumstances people go missing. And in most cases, the one I was talking about is from, was I saying Minnesota? Yeah, I don't remember the case it's from. It's just, it starts with an M. But the case, these people go missing and they're never found. But the only things that are ever found is associations between what people were looking for that certain person was and the details of who that person was. So in the case of if somebody went missing and they were gone for 3 days, nothing would be found besides what would look like some type of interview on a phone recording. But then there would be no other evidence whatsoever. So my furriness with the case is more of the origin and where it's coming from, and I necessarily believe in an odd sense that it's an outside force. It is not something that is... I wouldn't even say it's not earthly. I would just say it's not of common logical breakdown. Because a lot of things do not make sense in these cases. There are people that go missing at 2 p.m. and they're found at 8 p.m. Nothing happened to them. They're just found. And vice versa. It's just people, they will, and I'm not overly exaggerating. I am just trying to summarize the cases as the way they went to the person that's researching them. And the way that he describes them is that they were plucked out of nature. As in, a lot of cases that have happened is a kid will round a corner where people do not see him rounding that corner. So if there's a 10 to 15 degree bend in that corner, the kid will walk around that corner on the trail, right? You get what I'm saying? As in, if there's a straight trail, then they say there's a 15 degree bend to the left. So this kid will head to the left following that trail from what they described. And then when they get to the point where they can fully describe the trail that they described, The kid's gone. No explanation whatsoever. It could be old Native American points of view and how they were treating certain points of combat, blah, blah, blah. But there's no truly explicable point of view besides those teenage Appalachians coming in and interfering with what we're doing right now. And I wouldn't even consider that interfering. I would say enhancing what we're doing. I would look at if we could talk to somebody like that as enhancing. I wouldn't find that insulting. At least with us. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree.
I would love to hear something like that, even if they feel something's opposite to us. I would love to hear it. I would love it. Just to hear who they are. Because if you don't realize it or not, the development of culture is coming from actual culture. And so the more you step in now, the less they will be able to later. And I'm not trying to make this into a whole conspiracy theory. Is just protect your views. That's the only message Bearhoo and I are trying to get across is protect who you are. Love who you are. Love yourself and love everyone around you.
Word.
And tying in the whole episode of Halloween, maybe it doesn't make sense. All we're trying to do is tie in cases that are near us. That's it. We're just trying to tie in cases that are near us. There may be people that disagree. Cool. We want to hear those ideas. We'd love that. We'd love to hear people that do not like our ideas and they sit there and challenge them. Because that would challenge our ideas to make them more foolproof, make them even less foolproof. Just to have people that can believe in our opinions because we actually challenge them. You know? I don't feel anything worse or better than that. I can see me and Bearhoo being happy expressing our opinions because of the research that we put across, but that's honestly not the point. The point of this podcast is to spread mental positivity and social positivity, and so that people do not feel afraid to express their opinions, do not feel afraid to express who they are in general. That should not be an issue in culture to this day. It should not. And Adam and I want to put a stop to that.
Yeah.
We want to put a stop to people feeling judged off of one sentence they say.
Yeah.
And Adam and I may judge somebody off of a sentence more than the other, but we'll never write somebody off because of it. We'll never do that. We love hearing people's stories. It's so valuable.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear them. No one hears valuable stories anymore. We love those. And you can say it, look into my eyes. We love hearing those type of people's stories. Defining who they are. Getting those real answers. We love those. But at the same time, Adam does love getting deeper. And so here's where he's going to explain that.
No, I think we're about done, dude. I mean, it's been about that time.
I guess you look at it in the same way I do in that sense.
Yeah.
In a sense, we love people.
Yeah.
We love hearing their stories.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
There's nothing more important, nothing less important.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, I mean, that's really, I guess what we want to talk about today.
That's going to be tied behind every podcast we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the main concentration of was, boo, it's Halloween, and there's some weird shit that goes on out there, man.
Yeah.
There's some weird shit, and we're going to follow up with the same thing as last episode. Is I have a quote from a specific poet just to follow up on, but I'll let Bearhoo talk from here. Go ahead, my brother.
No, I was going to say is, you guys have a safe Halloween and enjoy the rest of the night. And we will be putting this episode out shortly, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe you won't be doing it tonight because you're a little bit too drunk or something like that. But
partying too hard, having some fun on Halloween.
Yep, exactly.
Doing what you do.
Do whatever.
But just so you know, any holiday or whatever, what we're going to be doing is putting out an episode for you.
Probably. If it falls on a Thursday. That's for sure.
I feel like
not doing it on Christmas, I don't think.
Well, we're not going to do it on Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, this is what's important to us.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we're going to adjust. If it's Halloween, if it's Easter, and there's nothing conflicting, we're going to be there. And I want to be there. And I know that there's weird occasions and the things that we'll talk through on this podcast and accepting weird realities in the sense. But you have to realize at the end of the day, anything that seems outbound and weird and stretched, most of the times comes true in a lot of history. A lot of people that sit there and question what's going on and what's going to happen, they're most of the time in the wrong. That's just usually how it works. And it's not me trying to sit here and criticize, come take my side. That's not even what I'm trying to do. It's just more of think for yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Who cares if the opinion is different than what's from yours? Because your opinion's your opinion. If there's things that happen in your life and you have to take care of yourself according to those, who gives a shit? Anybody that sits there and judge those, they can go fuck themselves. Anybody that sits there and judges that to a certain degree, anything besides, oh, well, they put this much time in front of a mic, they can go fuck themselves. Just because somebody does not like what you're doing, what I do is, that gives me more reason to do it more. The more that we get the lack of viewers,
won't care what they say.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say go fuck themselves. I hope them the best. I think really we should just leave it off on a positive note.
Well, I'm not trying to say that I tell them go fuck themselves. Yeah. All I'm trying to say is that if I leave on a case of only people supporting me in what it is now, it won't make a difference. Yeah, fair enough. If we build a YouTube channel from what we're at right now, and nothing aside from what we're posting on YouTube, then I wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Because they get our average message. But anybody that would misconstrue our message, I would put them right in line real quick. Because at the end of the day, all I want is every single human being to feel valued. I want every single human being to feel that they have that niche that they can fit into.
Yeah.
Which will never happen.
Yeah.
But I would love for it to happen.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, we're going to wrap up today, guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic Halloween. Be safe. Drive home safe. Do not drive and drink.
Of course not. Love everyone that's around you. Take care of them.
Trevor's going to tell you guys a quick quote, and then we're going to close up.
Yeah, like I said last episode, every single episode that we put out, we're going to follow up with a quote to just show and hint at that. The meaning of why we're putting out episodes, even if they're just to sit out there, get a laugh, get minimal attention compared to whatever. All we're trying to do is expose people for their good points of view and how they love people. And one of the quotes that we found was by Emily Dickinson. She is a long dead poet, but she is a beautiful poet. I used to study her back in high school, back in honors English and AP English. She offers beautiful points of view. But one of the things that she said was, one need not be a chamber to be haunted. One need not be a house. The brain has corridors surpassing material place. So that even though you're sitting here through common course, common point of view, how people deal with situations does not mean that that's the way you're going to deal with the situation. Every situation is different in the way that you are exposed to it, the way that you deal with it, and the way that you comprehend it is different than every single situation that's out there right now. And I love that. And I know that Adam loves that too. And we love it for different reasons. But that's what I appreciate more is the fact is that we love things for different reasons, and I feel that that's going to bring this podcast together. And I feel that that's why you guys feel that way too. But at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is enhance the idea of self. The fact is that without you, this would not matter. Without you, you're good. And that's all that matters, man. Love yourself. Take care of yourself.